All right, and so I want to show you. So we're looking at what you guys are looking at now is the sort of player board. What I did was I did a couple of things. One, I made sure that everybody has a new or revised token. So these are your new tokens. Some of them are using the same picture, some of them you are not, but you can see that each of them has 3 bars over the top of their head. What that is might, speed, and intellect, your 3 primary stat pools in that order. Might is green, speed is blue, and intellect is red. So you can see for yourself. You can't see for everybody else, but you can see for yourself what those actual numbers are. And I've pulled those from your character sheets. So those are your actual stats. So Chuck and I were talking the other night, and he brought up some questions about how stat pools kind of work for the purposes of buying sorts of things. So I'm just gonna put what have I got? Can you guys, let's see, what are you guys looking at now? Are you still looking at, oh wait, hold on, I'm on the wrong site. So are you guys looking at Weber Jix's character sheet right now?
No.
No, sir.
All right.
Still the player board.
Why not?
I see 6 guys.
Let's see if this works. All right, how about now? Can you see Weber Jix's stat board or character sheet?
Yes, in the Zoom, yeah.
Okay, I'll take the zoom out of there so it's not distracting. All right, so you can see here, right in this area right here, you can see might, speed, intellect, the pool scores, the edge scores, and the effort scores. So each of these 3 things, I dove in to some of the things. So for everything, so Cypher System, as we talked about, is a little bit, well, it's certainly not nearly as crunchy as things like Pathfinder or even 5e. There's a lot of sort of player agency about what you do and what you don't do. There's a lot of DM agency that goes into sort of it. It's much more storytelling focused than it is sort of crunch focused, right? So in this case, the way that it affects how you use your stat pools is that unlike stats in D&D, where you have strength, intelligence, wisdom, dex, con, and charis, and those represent baseline statistics, and those particular abilities don't change unless you are damaged in some way, ability to take ability damage some way, and the bonuses that accrue to that are sort of static. They stay that way unless the ability score changes or you take damage in that way. And these particular things represent pools of points that you can spend in a variety of ways. You can spend them in combat. You can spend them trying to do things. You can spend them, trying to accentuate damage. And how you spend your pools during the course of gameplay is sort of, well, it's certainly up to you, but it's sort of, you have to be sort of strategic about it, because when you spend them, you get them back by resting. And there are certain kinds of rests that you can do. You can see here in recovery. So right now in recovery, it's D6 plus 1. So let's say you find yourself in a task, and Andrew, you're the doctor, right? So you find yourself having to do a kidney transplant on the deck of a ship using a flashlight held by somebody else with no anesthetic. So this is a difficult task, even for somebody as prodigious a doctor as you. So being that there's all these things that are against you in this kind of stuff, I set this as, say, a difficulty 30 task. Basically impossible for anybody who doesn't have superhuman abilities in this regard. So for you, you have a variety of skills and things that you can bring to bear. So remember, that 30 represents a D20 roll. So you have to roll a 30. You have, let me see, hold on. We're just gonna pop you up. So I probably should have used Weber as the example, but I'm not smart. So I did this instead. So we're gonna pull up Dr. Wagner's stat block here. Hold on a sec. All right, can you guys see Dr. Wagner?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so Wagner has an intellect of 25. and an edge of 1 and an effort of 1 as well. So let's start from the bottom. Edge is sort of this always on bonus that you get, right? So you enact your edge, and each point here in some of this stuff represents 3 points on the thing. So you say, well, this is an intellect challenge. It's in my wheelhouse. So I'm gonna apply my edge. That's 3 points off the top. So that brings that the DC of this kidney transplant down to 27, because 1 point equals 3 on the die roll. So you're saying, okay, I also want to spend some intellect points using effort. So effort is spending intellect points. So at your level, at tier 1, you have 1 effort, which means you can spend up to 3 intellect points to, in this case, in effort to bring that down as well. So you say, all right, I'm going to spend intellect effort to bring that down as well. It was a 27. Now it's a DC 24. It's still above 20 though. So, which means that it's going to be impossible unless you do some other stuff. So in this case, you have, and I'm just checking to see, I want to make sure, effort. So you can go further with your intellect and say, all right, since this is, so then you say, all right, well, I have medicine and I am specialized in medicine. And that brings you, I believe, 2 steps back. It's a specialized, hold on, I got to check my notes. Specialized is 2, yes. Yes, skilled specialized is 2 steps. All right, so here's back. So since you're specialized in medicine, you take another 6 points off of that, which brings it down to 18. So now this kidney transplant that you're doing on the floor of the place with Weberjick's holding the flashlight and, you know, no anesthetic, the person's screaming, blood squirting all over, you now have a D18 chance to be able to do that. If you have other abilities, so you will say to me, I've got some specialty equipment with me in my bag. So I have Dr. Wagner's special medicine. So we may not have proper anesthetic or proper tools, but I'm gonna fill this person full of ketamine to try and get him to stop crying, so that I can do this kidney transplant. And I'll say, you know what? Dr. Wagner's medicine has helped many, many people across the cosmos, and I'm going to say that's another step that's going to figure. So that takes it down another 3 points because you have brought something to bear there. That brings it down to a 15. So you may say, all right, I don't have anything else I can really bring to bear here. So I'm going to go ahead and roll it. And then you roll a D20. And if you get a 15 or better, you have successfully done this transplant. Does that sort of make sense? How you can sort of deploy those points? What happens is the edge stays there. It always comes off first, and you don't lose it. You always have 1 edge when it comes to intellect points. Effort simply goes away for that. So if you use effort to blow your intellect down, so it goes away. So after this, if you pull this off, your intellect goes down 3 points to 22. And that's how many intellect points you have left. Okay. So these are all points. So say instead, Dr. Wagner is trying to tackle a guy and down a flight of stairs on a starship. All right. He's going to do a flying body tackle. Well, that might be a might, and we can argue back and forth about whether that counts as a speed attack or a might attack, or a might task. So I'm going to say it's a might task. In this case, you don't have any edge. So I'm going to say he's bigger than you. He's stronger than you. So I'm going to say it's a DC, let's say 14. It's a DC 14 thing that you have to do. You can burn, so you say, I'm going to try and do this, but I'm going to burn some more effort, my might effort. So you take 3 points off of that. That brings your might down to a 4. It takes it one step down. So that makes it a DC 11. And then you roll to see what happens. And it's a DC 11 thing. But you can see when you, as over the course of the adventure, until you get significant rest, you'll sort of, those pools will begin to get lower and lower and lower. The fun part is that you're spending these pools of points to do stuff. But if you're attacked, it's those pools of points that are your damage score. So say you've gone through an adventure and you've done this and that and the other, and you've spent various pools of points and you're down a little bit. Well, it's almost analogous to sort of saying in D&D, well, I'm going to spend 6 hit points to figure out this puzzle, right? Or disengage this trap. That kind of thing. So it's sort of like a very kind of amorphous thing that you guys can go back. Does that make sense to you guys? Kind of?
Yes. Although I think I will want to practice it, try it out, and after I do it a few times, I think I will get it.
Okay.
Barf.
So the same thing happens in combat, right? So there's no like armor classes or anything. There's a difficulty check that you have to face to shoot a guy, right? So say Weber Jix is trying to shoot a guy with a light weapon, a soldier that's wearing armor and that kind of stuff. So say he's squaring off against an armored Marine who's got metal armor on, has got an exoskeleton, and he's coming off, and Weber has his pistol, and he's shooting at this guy, and he's trying to hit him. Well, the DC for hitting a guy like that is probably going to be something like 15 or 18, right? Achievable, but you'd have to get a pretty lucky shot. At this point, Weber goes, all right, my edge is in intellect. That's really not going to help me unless I can convince Les that I'm using a special, that I'm targeting something, or, like, for example, Andrew, because he has that targeting eyeball on the back of his head, he could make the argument to me that if he's trying to attack somebody who's directly behind him somehow, that targeting lens mounted in the back of his head is feeding him information, and that should give him a step. And I could say, all right, that makes sense. All right, then the DC becomes lower, right? In this case, Matt, you can use light weapons without penalty, so you've got that. There's no penalty for shooting at this guy. Let's check out your skills. None of these seem to be appropriate to shooting a guy. Unless you can make the case. So your edge is in intellect. So unless you can make the case, you can't use that edge point for this unless you can make some sort of case where you can say, look, I think that intellect is appropriate to this shot because, and try to convince me as the DM that you should be using your intellect pool for this gunshot as opposed to your speed pool or your might pool. Okay. So in this case, I would say it's probably speed is what is really the most appropriate thing. So you're going to say, all right, well, I'm going to exercise effort. It's a DC 18 shot, for example, but I'm going to exercise 3 points of effort, bring this down to 8, and bring that down to a 15. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. You're using effort to bring that shot to bear. You do that. You pay your points. You take your shot. You roll it. And it's gone. Here's the thing. If you use effort, it's gone, regardless of whether you hit or miss. You pay the points up front.
When you say gone, are they gone for the battle, for the venture, for all time?
Great question. So that's when we go to recovery. So in this case, Weber, your recovery rate is D6 plus 1. So recovery rates are tiered, right? So the first recovery that you do takes 1 action. It's a turn. And you say, I'm going to take a moment to catch my breath after that fight. You roll a D6 plus 1, and that's how many points you get back. And you can decide where those points go. But then this box gets checked. The next time you get into a fight, it takes 10 minutes to recover to get that same D6 plus 1. And you roll that dice. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 7. You don't know. But that the next time takes minutes. All right, you do that. Then the next one is an hour. You have to rest for an hour to get that D6 plus 1. So it's sort of like you dropping off to get those points. And once you do that, it's 10 hours is basically a night's rest, a night's of uninterrupted rest to get back to any of those points.
Okay.
So that's where it gets to the idea of being damaged, right? So you guys get in a big gunfight. And Weber, you have 8 and speed, 8, 11, and 15. When you get hit, and weapons have standard damages, right? Light weapon 2, medium weapon 4, heavy weapon 6. Now we can go back and forth, so if Eric comes to me and says, well, I have a laser machine gun, a heavy squad level weapon, I think that should be more points, and I'm good at it, so I should get more damage points, because you can use effort to put more damage into your points, and you can spend more than one effort to do that. So we'll get to that in a second. But say you guys are hit. Say Weber gets hit by 2 bullets from different guys, or from the same guy. He gets hit by 2 submachine gun bullets. The damage is 4 points for each submachine gun bullet, plus 1 because they're proficient. So 5 points. So that's 10 points. So he loses all of his might, so he's at 0 for might, and then he loses 2 from speed, so he's now at 9, and it goes in that direction.
I don't like the scenario. Let's shoot Dr. Wagner.
Since he has 1 stat pool down to 0, 1, you can't use it for effort anymore, but because you've lost a stat pool, you become impaired, which means you have to pay an additional point for effort. You don't get minor and major effects when you roll a 19 or 20, and your combat rolls only deal plus 1 damage, because you get extra damage if you roll higher on naturals, get higher damage. But so yeah, you become impaired. So next thing you know, the next guy who fires at Jix too, and 3 bullets hit them, and he takes 13 points of damage. All right, so this is reduced to 0, and now we're down to 11 here. So you're down 2 stat pools. You only have intellect with. You are now debilitated. So you can move only at an intermediate distance, meaning you're limping, and you can't move if your speed pool is 0. Well, in this case, your speed pool is 0, so you can't move at all. You're stuck wherever you are, because you've taken a bullet to the leg, or something like that, and or you're so full of holes that you're just like, I'm just going to sit down for just a moment. You guys go ahead with the gunfight. I'll be back in a sec. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But that's sort of how you track those things.
Okay.
I'm going to uncheck all these things. All right.
Thank you.
So that's kind of how that goes. Now, so there's a couple of things that are combat specific. So on natural rolls of 17 through 20, things happen. So on 17, you get plus 1 to your damage total. On 18, you get plus 2 to your damage. On 19, plus 3, and on natural 20s, you get plus 4 to your damage. So if you have a medium weapon, like a heavy laser pistol, say, and you're just blasting away, and you get some hits, but you roll a natural 20. So a couple of things happen. Heavy laser pistols start out with 4 points. You roll the natural 20, so you get 4 extra. So that's an 8-point hit. You also, on a 19 and a 20, you get something what's called a minor or a major effect. So in this case, I haven't found a good list of minor and major effects, but so what we'll do is we'll use the crit chart. So if you roll a 19 or 20, if you roll a 19, natural 19, you get a minor crit. If you roll a 20, you get a major crit. And we'll fiddle those until I find a good crit chart for Cypher System. We'll fiddle those as per. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. Now, one other thing I should mention is that you only have 1 action per turn. So remember that this is more a storytelling kind of style of rule set. So if you just say, all right, I shoot. That's fine. But if you say, all right, I'm gonna take careful aim and that's going to help me use my intellect pool instead of my speed pool on this shot. So I'm going to add that, and then I'm going to use my effort and that kind of stuff, and I'm gonna move out of the way and duck behind the thing so it gives myself some cover on the return fire, that kind of stuff. So you could sort of tell me what's happening to you and around you, not only to try and get like bonuses and steps and things like that, but also to sort of protect yourself and just sort of add to the story. So it's much more narrative focused than some of the other games that we've played. So feel free to sort of like use those opportunities to tell those stories to get yourself advantages, disadvantages to your friends and enemies, that kind of thing.
Cool.
All right. So I've got you guys looking at this thing right here. I've got all you guys here. As you guys remember from the recap, several of you, Dr. Wagner, Weber, and Captain Gray are in the safe house. Mallory Graves is with Mehmet Tam. So he's with Tam right now because the last time we talked, Mallory sort of went up to the Gin and Tonic, tried to figure out where his friend Coffin Doyle was, got spotted by Tam, and basically went over there and talked with Tam a little bit, where Tam was like, look, we've got a variety of problems going here. And that's when you realize that there's some issues. Basically, your issue is largely twofold. One, you guys are in a safe house being hidden by a local sort of organized crime figure who's done you this service, but the reality is safe houses are only good for a little while. It's only a matter of time before somebody gets onto you guys. So that's one problem. You're going to have to get out of this. You've been here for 48 hours already. You probably got maybe another 24 hours of relative safety, and then the clock starts ticking before the TILA guys
Our
get
crime B&B runs out and we got to start.
Yeah. Well, I mean, basically there becomes an increasing chance that TILA figures out where you guys are. I mean, right now, for the last 2 days, they've been talking to their snitches. They've been monitoring all the neural nets. They've been looking for you guys to do anything. And everybody has been very quiet. You guys have not been using your neural lace, so you haven't been in contact with Tam. You guys have no idea where he is. And frankly, probably it's come up on him several times in discussion as to whether or not he betrayed you guys to TILA. I mean, you remember that scene
Just
in
because
Heat?
Don has betrayed us in every other game we played does not. Is this being recorded? I want to be on the record to say that Don would never betray us in this game.
And
Remember that? Have you guys seen the movie Heat?
Did you do that, Don? Yeah.
Remember when
Yeah.
they got in that big gunfight outside the bank?
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah. How can anybody forget the heist scene?
the heist scene. Well, remember when they said, our cover's blown, they knew we were coming. How could that have happened? And they were like, who wasn't there? And it was their driver guy wasn't there, right? The
Right.
Spanish guy with all the
Wait,
scars. I can't
In
remember.
this,
his name.
in this one, who's
Yeah.
Tom Sizemore? I don't want to go out like that.
Ooh, speaking of Tom Sizemore, did you read the news? He had a cerebral event, like a stroke or an
Sorry to hear
aneurysm or
that.
something.
I know he'd had like a major drug problem for a while, but I thought he'd been like on a straight and narrow.
I'd heard that too, but he had apparently, like, just yesterday or today, he had some sort of aneurysm. He's alive, but he's in the hospital.
Sorry to
Sorry to
hear
hear
that.
that.
Yeah, I was sorry to hear that too. He's I like in his early work. I liked a lot. He was great in Heat, and he looked like he had a really good career
Saving
ahead
Private
of him.
Ryan, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great in Saving Private Ryan. So anyway,
Wear 'em like underwear, Captain.
where he's got all the dirt from all the places that they went, just fills out those cans. All right, so that's on one hand. Wagner, you're still kind of injured. I mean, you took several bullets from a submachine gun, and frankly, no one else in the safe house has been able to operate on you. So, from everybody else's point of view, Dr. Wagner has been sleeping a lot because he's been self-medicating a lot, and he had to do a little work on himself to sort of remove some bullets, which was not easy. But Wagner is one of those guys where not easy is one of those things that he looks at as a challenge. So on the first day, he was able to remove a couple of bullets from his body that he'd been hit, injected himself with no shock and ketamine, and then took a long nap. Now he's alive, but injured and certainly not at 100%.
Yeah, I wasn't in life-threatening danger anymore. So, when the doc can get to me, I think I'm good. And I still had a little bit of no one knows where to keep it, but I still seem to have a little flask of Pappy, with me at all times to help medicate, the injuries. But I remember I was busy sending out notes to Palmer and to our lawyer lady, our advocate.
When Yamazaki over at
Yeah.
Spofulam, yeah.
I was
So
waiting
that
for
would have
some responses there.
been like a day and a half ago after
Oh,
this
and I
happened.
also sent out a note to the people selling the Steiner Library and Space Craigslist.
On Space Craigslist. Yep. So yeah, you haven't got any responses from those yet. You haven't seen Sergei in person. And your guess is that he's staying away from you guys. Because if something bad happens, he doesn't want to be anywhere near you guys. But he's been sending guys over with food, with drink.
As far as I'm concerned, Sergei is a
news.
stand-up guy, because as an NPC criminal, he put us up in his little Airbnb here, Crime B&B, hidey hole, and has cleaned up multiple bodies that we've left dropped here and there.
On at least 2 occasions.
Stored our aliens, yeah.
Yeah, he stored Melvin for you guys. That became a problem. Cleaned up the bodies when you guys had to go get Melvin, and that didn't work out well.
Yeah.
Then picked you up from when you attacked basically the federal police department.
Hey, they started it.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll fly in court. So he's been a stand-up guy. Now, I mean, those of you, Palmer probably, or Weber, you probably would be reminded and say, hey, look, he's probably not doing this out of the goodness of his heart.
No. There's a bill to be paid down the road, and plus he's still snapping on guns and toys on our spaceship last time I checked.
Well, no, the spaceship is ready. I mean, he told you guys that it was ready to go. All that stuff is done. But remember, there was a discussion about that there were some of the guys who were upgrading Gin, the AI, had discovered some anomalous kind of.
I remember that.
Some anomalous radiation fields, and at one point, or potentially even several points, they had detected what looked to be a second personality template, a personality construct inhabiting the same space as Jin's personality template. So the AIs are they're part biological, they're mostly computer though. And they are overlaid with a personality template that is appropriate to their position. So Jin's original template is essentially that of running a freighter ship, a cargo ship, which is why when you guys had guns emplaced on that ship, Gin needed to be upgraded so that he would have the wherewithal, intellectually speaking and computer processing speaking, to run those guns, in addition to everything else. And so it was only during those upgrades that Sergei's techs were able to, found these anomalies, or just sort of encountered these anomalies. Now, they will be the first to say that they went away. These problems went away and everything seems to be fine now. And that their excuse was, probably one of our techs made a mistake and was sort of sensing a nearby ship's AI as being contiguous with the Gin and Tonic ship AI, and that's why it looked like there were 2 personalities in it. And so they were like, "It's probably fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's good." Now you know that Tam has begun doing some diagnostics and things like that. He's the one most familiar with Gin, the AI. And so, he's been looking back at various things to see if there's been any significant changes in programming, if there's been any significant changes in activity, going back step by step, trying to find out if there was some point in which some anomalous behavior began to manifest itself. So far, he hasn't found anything.
Okay.
But according to Sergei, ship's ready to go. You guys are paid. You guys did him that favor on Tufik, which he was pleased about. And that may be part of the reason that he's been so indulgent of you guys and get you in the safe house. He's got no love, certainly, for TILA. He's like, anytime I can stick it up their asses, that's a good day. So, but his guys will be the first to admit that Sergei thinks you've got maybe 24 hours before the clock starts ticking. It's only a matter of time before they discover where you are. There's a lot of different things that they can do, both technological and sort of philosophical, for lack of a better term.
Right.
Okay.
As you guys enter the third day, around 9:30 a.m., there's a knock on the door. And your expectation is the standard sort of food, news, and drink delivery for that day. But you open the door, and yeah, your normal guy is there, but there's another guy there who's sort of following behind, a guy you don't recognize. You haven't seen him before, but he looks like this. He's got a technical look to him, dark hair, young man. He's got a belt that has a variety of what look to be technological tools. Probably the best. Captain Gray would probably be the best at identifying some of these. If you guys want to try and take a crack and look at it, see what his tools are, that's probably a difficulty 12 task, intellect task.
I try not to look at other men's tools if I can help it. I mean,
All right.
occasionally
I walked into that one.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good night. I can feel it.
All right. So Tam is introducing him to him.
Well, Tam's not there. It's one of Sergei's guys, a guy that you've known. He's the guy who's been coming here. You guys remember him as the driver of the van that picked up the dead bodies at the warehouse.
Oh, yeah.
He's sort of one of Sergei's senior dudes. But with him is this other guy named Hawke. And I will let him introduce himself.
Hi, guys.
Now Mallory is not there, right?
Mallory's not there.
Right.
So to the people that are there, I'll just introduce myself. I'm Bishop. I was one of the techs that worked on your ship. I do contract work for Sergei. So he said you guys are behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of a rough go here lately, but something we can't dig ourselves out of once we get back in the shipping lanes and start wheeling dealing. I'm Weber Jix.
Nice to meet you.
What's my role here? My role here is the wheeling and dealing of cargo.
Crime and crime-related activities.
Yeah,
Crime.
anybody see the latest Puss in Boots movie? Whatever the last life or
I haven't seen it yet because I think they still wanted money for it.
Oh, yeah. The only thing I've read to bring up is there's a bunch of heists going on, and one of the characters keeps leaving little signs. You've been crimed. So I like go behind. So they'll turn around like, where'd the thing go? And it says, you've been crimed. And so that's what I think we should start doing from now on.
Swiper, stop swiping.
Exactly.
So now Weber has a new affectation.
Yeah. So we've had a go, but so what can I do for you, Hawke? Are you looking to upgrade to Life in the Stars?
Well, actually, it was kind of what I was hoping I could do for you guys. Look, I don't know the whole skinny of what's going on, and I don't really need to know.
Really don't want to know.
I
Unless
just
you're
know
joining this crew.
you guys are jammed up here. Sergei said, if I could give you a hand to do that. I worked on your ship. I was the one that found some weird stuff in the computer, and to be honest, I don't like puzzles that I don't solve. So I really would like to get back on and take a second look.
That'd be great. Small problem though. There's a bunch of local security types that unfairly are holding on to our property for a while as we work out some legal issues.
Yeah, I saw them when I was walking down the street today.
We had a less than stable member of our team go out in a blaze of glory on their doorstep.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but your ship's also clamped.
Yeah, anything you can do about that?
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, first of all, we got to get you aboard, right?
Well, first of all, it's your ship. We have to get all of you aboard.
Right.
Mostly, I think that the first pressing need is we have to get you out of this house.
I'm all for that. I mean, I've enjoyed a little respite as we've been healing up from multiple bullet wounds. And I'm using Bactine here while the good doctor's been busy. Bactine is self-medicating.
The guy who's not talking, what does he look like? Besides, he's face palming really hard.
Oh,
So that's Dr. Wagner. He's sort of laying down on the bed. He looks pale. He's sleeping when you come in, does not wake up. I'll leave that up to Andrew. Maybe he does wake up. Andrew, if you do rouse yourself from your slumber, you are pretty debilitated. Bishop, you would see that he's quite pale. There are a number of bandages on him. You can see that his eyes are, the pupils of his eyes are quite dilated as well, for probably a variety of reasons.
I'm
He
in a
also,
drug-addled stupor, I think, even if I do.
Yeah, he looks like he's on some pretty heavy meds at the moment.
well, certainly painkillers. Now, Dr. Wagner, if you wanted to, you'll also see on Wagner, he has a variety of like sort of technological machines attached to him, portable sort of things. Wagner, if you wanted to sort of get yourself back to intellectual, to be non-drug addled, to sobriety, for example, there are drugs that will bring you back, but they will not assist you in the physical healing that you still have a lot to do with.
Right.
Yeah, so I'll ask Weber. This guy's one of yours, I assume. It doesn't look like he's in any position to be moving anytime soon.
Dr. Wagner, is that who he's talking to? I know we have other characters
Mhm.
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to operate on yourself and not need a little bit of a nap. So maybe you and I could go for a stroll. I got a little less. I don't know how to do it on this character, but I think I had a little bit of disguise ability, right? So maybe
Sure.
I-
Yeah. You would basically, depending, it would be situational, right? So you do have some disguise ability, I believe. I'd have to look at your sheet.
I gotta look at my sheet, too.
Hold on. Let's
After I sent it to you, I didn't look at it again. Okay, I have it now.
let's have a quick look. See how
I got deception,
you have-
photography, perception, persuading, and see-through deception.
So it would be a deception check, which you are trained at, which means you get a step down, right? So if I say, all right, if you say to me, I want to disguise myself as an attractive woman, so I can walk through this crowd of cops without them knowing it's me, I would say that's probably a difficulty 22 challenge. A normal person would not be able to pull that off.
Bugs Bunny could.
Bugs
Yeah,
Bunny
I'm
could.
not, as an attractive girl bunny, maybe I can pull that off. Okay, so I am not trying to go that. I have a pair of I have a jaunty space beret and some Groucho Marx glasses that I like to use, and something that fleshes out my features a little bit so that the security AI, facial recognition does not pick me up, and I assume I would have specific procedures to try to defeat facial recognition.
Sure. And with your being trained in deception, you would immediately get a step back. So say that whatever you would describe as a scenario, I would say, okay, that's a DC 15 problem.
Right.
You would say, but I'm trained in deception. And I would say, okay, now it's a DC 12 problem. And then you would start thinking, all right, I'm going to use edge. I'm going to use effort to sort of reduce that number. One thing I want to point out is that if you could somehow reduce a number to 0, it automatically works, whatever you plan, whatever you're trying to do.
Okay.
So
So
keep that in mind.
I'll be using my intellect on this, right?
Well, so where is it that you want to go? Because you wandering around.
Well, I was thinking that with Dr. Wagner out for the count and the rest of was anybody else showing up tonight, or Don and
This is it.
Yeah, Don and
Okay.
Dan are out.
at some point we'll probably want to get Eric into the fight here. So I would say that if maybe you and I could walk around, see if we can get on board the ship, if nothing else, just for you a chance to take a look at that AI again, and I
Well,
can
at-
see what we can
at
do
the-
about popping these
at-
clamps off.
At this point, trying to get on the ship is going to require you to get rid of about a dozen agents.
Well,
Now, I have an idea about that, to be honest with you, but it's not an idea that you want to do.
is this the
And
get
then-
help idea? Because I don't want to be
No,
Princess story in that
No,
one
no,
again.
no, this isn't the get help idea. Although that would be fun. No, I have an idea. The problem is my idea is a way to temporarily get rid of those guys, temporarily long enough to get you and your guys back onto the ship. So the doctor not being ambulatory becomes an issue. But
Right,
if
right. I'm
you-
saying that we probably won't be able to leave without some other characters here, unless
And if you want,
unless just to play this along, if we're able to get the ship free, or will you allow all the characters who are not playing tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I just want to clear it up, Chuck. Sorry.
And that's all right. And I think I was told that there are some other guys that are part of your group that aren't here. And I don't know those people. I only have vague descriptions of them, but I'm pretty sure I know where they'll be.
Okay.
By the way, I grew up here on Cymbeline Station, so I've got a pretty good handle on all of the areas to go where you don't want TILA attention and don't want crooked ass cops attention. And
Okay.
some of the other places that are sort of friendly to that sort of notion. So if your guys were able to find it, I'm guessing I would know where they'd be hanging out to not draw any attention to themselves.
So we also have a weasel that we need to, put our hands on at some point.
A pinch
And,
weasel?
Yeah, and squeeze him till he tells us some more information. But I'm trying to think, what else do we need out of that greasy bastard that
So you're talking about Keith Smitchy
Mhm.
from TILA?
Mitchie? Well, he's no longer with Tyler, right? He's either suspended or fired, isn't he?
Well, he's been suspended. You're not
Okay.
beyond that. You're not sure. He had been. So what you do know is that he had been briefly detained in some sort of detention center, TILA related detention center, and that he had been released pending either him having to travel to Prometheus to see a magistrate, or he's legally speaking, he is not a not an active TILA representative anymore. He's not engaging in any activity for TILA. He's not fired because technically he hasn't been found guilty of any crimes yet.
All right, so don't throw him out the airlock because he's still Tyler property. I got it.
Well, but he's basically on house arrest.
Yeah.
Now
Yes,
you're not
but he's
sure
busy,
where.
he's busy trying to get the goods on us to his other bosses.
Well, right. I mean, you guys
Space
saw that thing, and I don't know if everybody saw that, but I'll just bring that back up again. That message that you guys intercepted.
and somebody we really don't want to be here when she arrives, especially Dr. Wagner.
So this was the message that Sergei brought to you that he intercepted because he knew that this was a thing. So basically this was Smitchy, and this is sorry, hold on. So can you guys read that? Okay.
Yep, this is the yellow
Yeah.
encryption. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yes.
Chuck hasn't seen it, so he'll want to read through this maybe.
Yeah.
So basically Smitchy is saying, so Smitchy sent a message out, a text only message to somebody, subspace transmission, encryption yellow, and it basically said Operation Vesper incomplete, 2 casualties, 1 TILA, 1 target. Casualty target is C. Doyle, and then a string of numbers. Non-casualty targets escaped, protected by S. Golgachev. That's Sergei. So Sergei's full name is Sergei Datsyuk Golgachev. So they're referring to Sergei here. Current location unknown. We're working on it. All units, which means all units means that even though he's on basically house arrest, Smitchy has resources.
Yep.
So then the message comes back, and if you look at this, you can see it comes back about a half an hour later, the same day, from Greenpert Station. No encryption, sources hidden, text only, and it says start 20 KCR 20 kilocredits for Doyle, which sounds like a payoff for killing your friend.
Yeah.
0 kilocredits for the non-casualties. Find, finish, and get paid. Big Grizz wants this ASAP. Little lady mad your boys got Doyle. Tread lightly around that one. She says Wagner's next on the list. She en route Cymbeline. Don't let Gin and Tonic leave Cymbeline. Don't get in her way. End it. So then about 9 minutes later, another message from Smitchy goes to these guys on it, and that's the end of the transmissions.
Okay.
Right back.
Okay, so is there any benefit, Dr. Wagner, where I get you with I'll mind mesh with you over here while you're taking a map? Don't you think it's worthwhile to put the squeeze on him again? I'm just trying to think what we could get out of him that we don't already know. All we gotta do is avoid him and his goons. while we're looking around to how to break free of the station. I was trying 2 legal maneuvers, which was reaching out to Palmer and reaching out to our legal representative for the Spoffy Lamb Corporation. I don't see how we can legally get free without one of their interventions. So, but we do need to get free to sell our cargo and get
Are you
paid.
saying this, are you saying all this out loud or are you?
I can say this all out loud. Yes, I don't think.
Well, no, I'm just curious if you're just talking with him, because if you say, try to get out of this legally, Bishop's gonna laugh. You guys are apparently fairly new to Cymbeline Station. The cops aren't cops. They're gangsters with badges.
Well,
So
that's news to
whoever
us.
you've-
'Cause- yeah, go ahead.
Whoever you've got that can speak on your behalf, if the cops want you, man, I don't think that's gonna help.
Well, if you say that, that means there's ability to pay said gangsters off, which we did
Yeah,
offer
but
some sort of weird guild
Didn't,
option
didn't you
with
kill some
Sergei.
of them?
One, theoretically.
Okay, so you killed one of them. I mean, I'm not trying to be a rain on your parade. Whatever you want to try is up to you. But you whacked a cop, from what I've read. You whacked a TILA guy. I don't think there's gonna be any.
They got one of
let's-
us, we got one of them.
Oh, let's think about
Stevens.
this. Here's some money. I don't know that that's gonna work
Yeah,
for
I'm
you.
just saying that, weird guild in space might be a thing, and especially if these guys are gangsters, you know. But like I was thinking we were dealing with rigid law and order, so this is news to me. So this is news to
TILA is rigid law and order. The
Right.
the Fed boys have no sense of humor.
Right, so I guess we're talking about 2 different things. You're saying TILA versus the local Cymbeline.
Yeah, this, the
cops.
Cymbeline,
I
the
got it. Okay.
Cymbeline PD, they're not,
Well,
they-
those are my
they-
kind of guys.
they have kind of their.
They work a
their-
little bit in the gray area. That's where Weber Jix thrives.
Well, then I
This
guess.
is getting scarier and scarier. isn't it?
Slipping Jimmy's coming out of retirement.
But I gotta be honest, if you're gonna try to take some TILA guys head on, I can't help you.
Well, are TILA watching the boat or is the local guys
Both.
watching the boat?
Both.
Both.
Okay. And even though we break free from the station, we still gotta get out of system alive. And I don't see that happening without having to fight our way out. And I don't want to do that. It was never our intention to get into on the wrong side of the law. It just happened,
Hey, I know. that stuff
situations happen.
happens. Those sorts of things
So
happen.
no judgment.
And you got caught.
Well, I mean, we didn't technically get caught. That's why we're on the run here. We're
Good
gonna
point.
splitting hairs here.
But they know your names and they know your faces, so that becomes problematic.
It was.
Yeah,
I wasn't
and
there,
it's
man.
and it's more than that even. I mean, honestly, if they pick up your neural lace, that's going to be a problem because then
forgot
they
about
know
that.
where you are,
I forgot
right?
about
So
that. We
you've
couldn't-
been offline.
I forgot about that. I wouldn't use my neural lace to talk to Wagner then. Well, I'm at an impasse. So Hawke or Wagner, I'm open to ideas here. How to get out of this this bed and breakfast and get back on the road. My ideas are the 2 ones I've already mentioned, and or sneaking around to see what Hawke, you said you might have some means to help break us off this station. I'm all ears.
I mean, I've got some ideas, but like I said, your man needs to be able to at least move. Because
So
what I,
Dr. Wagner, how long till you think you're ambulatory?
Am I even able to be cogent whatsoever?
Sure, absolutely. I think what you could do is you basically would be able to go on local mode with neural lace and step down the amount of drugs in your system. So yeah, you could be. You're still physically you're pretty debilitated. Intellectually, you can bring it up to 100%.
Okay.
So
the other
Hawke,
option,
do we have like
option
a,
is,
go ahead.
if we go find your other guys.
Yep.
And we can sort of get that together. And no disrespect to your doctor, but we could crate him up like cargo and wheel him to the location.
Yep.
So that he can continue healing. Right? But everybody, so here's what I'm thinking. If we go meet up with the other guys and everything looks right, then, or looks like it could be right, then, we got to figure out a way to get your doctor down here on under his own power or looking like cargo. And then I can try to get the police and the feds to abandon their post.
I think that's, okay, that's something. The,
And then loop the cameras so that anybody actively watching remote doesn't see any change, so that you guys can all get on your boat.
Interesting. You know, although I'm sorry, Mallory can't hear this.
But Eric can weigh in.
Eric says, you know, Coffin would just dash in and shoot them all, but then that's how Coffin got killed.
I was say that's one option, but it didn't seem like a good option.
Make
The
an excellent
last
point.
time.
I mean, you know,
All right, so
yeah, unless
there's-
you have the Omega-13 device for us to reset time, then I
Yeah,
guess. that's-
there's at least
gonna
a
have to-
dozen, there's at least a dozen between the cops and the Fed boys watching the boat.
Well, I guess the only thing I can suggest is that with eye in the back of my head, I can certainly guide dog everyone because no facial recognition is going to recognize the back of my head. So if you want to crate me and cover your faces as much as you can, at least I feel like we could get past some security checkpoints.
Yeah, I was thinking we'd get you like a Captain Pike wheelchair, you know, like a space wheelchair that you just go beep, beep, when you have something to say.
I like this idea very
But,
much.
I mean, that's up to you guys. But to your point, Weber, if you can disguise yourself to fool the cameras, we can go check out a couple spots and see if we can find your crewmates.
Let's do that. Let's see if we can put the band back together and then go from there. All right, so I'll be careful to stay off comms. Les, do I need to make a roll on disguise or is that gonna come down the road?
Well, it depends on what you're gonna do. I mean, if so, Bishop Hawke is not under any sort of compunctions to be found. I mean, nobody's looking for him. So if he wants to go out and confirm or bring Mallory to you guys, he could probably do that. Mallory's not under any sort of any sort of interdiction from either TILA or Constab either.
Right.
So that's fine. So I mean, theoretically, you could do that. So what I would need is probably Bishop to make a particular check to see if he can locate Mallory, and then go talk to him and see if he can convince him to come. If that's what you want to do, there's a lot of options here.
I think that's what we want to do. Like, I want to see if we can find Tam stuff. One thing I want to ask you, do we retcon out the Gawker personality out of Tam now? Like, I don't need to refer to that anymore, or that's still something he can do? Because I remember him saying that wasn't part of like the cipher rule set.
Well, we'll deal with it. But yeah, no, he certainly is still a changeling. And it's likely that he is using those changeling abilities to keep from the likelihood is right now he's Gawker, which is not somebody who's known here. He's using the Gawker personality. He's using Gawker's lines of credit, that kind of stuff.
I just want to know,
Sort of keep him off of the
like
radar.
Tam is most likely not wandering around a station, but Gawker might be wandering around a station. I know
Well,
what
exactly.
Gawker looks like, and maybe how to contact him. So, I will see if I can find a way to look on our, misconnections on Space Craigslist there to my good pal Gawk.
So you want to try and get a message on a Space Craigslist to see if you can get a hold of Gawker.
Right. I don't know.
Does that require you to use your neural lace?
No.
Well, they've
I would
been
have to- I'd have to
sending
do
him
it,
messages, basically writing them down and handing them
Yeah.
off to Sergei's guys, and they're sending them off.
Yeah, that's
Good
what I would
deal.
have to do.
Yeah,
You be one of Sergei's guys, maybe you can hand it to a guy for us.
the low tech version of that.
Yeah. And just see if there's any, I don't think we really have a contingency of like, when we're on the run, because that wasn't part of the plan. We got
Yeah,
our list of things to do is long. So this inconvenience on the station is annoying, but with this, I
Yeah.
want to get off here.
and I do contract work for Sergey. I'm not sure that I would say I'm one of Sergey's guys in so much as his group of close network guys.
You're
I
a
know,
professional who brings it on this. Yeah.
no, I know some of them. I don't know all of them.
I
So
got it,
I don't know how much I'd be able to help with that, but
I wanted you to say, Chuck, just to say, I'm a cleaner.
yes,
You come
No,
in with
I'm
your
a
two
hack-
briefcases.
I'm a hacker.
All right. So,
Forgive,
well,
forgive
hackers
me
just
if I'm
went-
curt. Forgive me.
The what are we gonna do here? So I will send that out and then see if we get any response from that. So let's, I don't know, maybe I'll give that 12 hours to see if anything's happening. If nothing happens with the four messages I have out, which is Steiner Library, Gawker, Spoffy Lamb, and Palmer, that with the message I sent out via Sergei. Now, granted, by the time I sent them off and how Sergei got them into the thing, I probably don't have a clear timeline of when those messages went out, and there'll be a delay getting back to me. But assuming I haven't gotten to those yet, then I'm gonna throw on my disguise and see if Hawke will leave with me to do some reconning and seeing. I want to talk to him a little bit more about his hacking skills to get us the hell off the station.
Okay. Okay.
And then I was thinking that maybe we need to have a set of license plates, in the trunk for when we next need to change our ship from the Gin and Tonic to another ship.
Yeah, just switch the plates. That's how that
Just
works.
switch the plates, yep. Works
Yeah.
like a charm. 60% of the time works every time.
They're checking the plates. It's a temp tag that's 2 years out of date. They're like, well, looks okay to me. It's an old code, but it checks out.
Yeah, like, yeah, there's some guy in space like taking the plates off this other ship over there.
Taking the plates off. Some guy's like, he's on his little shuttle. He's like, where the hell's my rear plates? Fuck, they did it to me again.
Damn it. It's the third time assembling.
The temp tag 2 years out of date is a St. Louis mainstay. To the point that on Reddit, the people post pictures of the longest temp tags. They had one where a guy had literally taken a piece of cardboard and drawn a temp tag on there and put that on his thing. So it was really good.
That's like Florida with their how long can you how many decades can you go without having to pay a toll, right? Until
Exactly.
they finally like, yeah, well, it's $6 million. All right. All right. So that's the plan. I'm waiting 12 hours to see if we get any responses. Without
Okay.
that, then I'm gonna ask Hawke to leave. And Hawke, maybe you can give us a quick rundown of your menu of hacker abilities that we can figure out how it would pertain to our stuff, and that gives Wagner 12 more hours to heal. Unfortunately for you, Eric, that means you have 12 more game hours to stew for the moment.
Gotcha.
All right. I do mechanical and computer stuff. I mean, I don't know what.
You propane and propane accessories. Is that
That's right. I sell propane and propane accessories.
okay? So mechanical at first. Let's talk clamps. Let's say we can't find any legal way to get off here. We're gonna have to move the security away from the ship, get everybody on board, and leave. Job one is to remove said clamps.
Yeah, well, they're gravity clamps, so there's really not much mechanically to them that we'd be able to do. But if I can get on your ship, and if I can get Gin unshackled, I have no doubt that between he and I, or me with his assistance, could fool the system into releasing the gravity clamps.
Got it. That brings the question up. Does Gin himself have like a Denver boot on his programming or anything that we need to be aware of?
Well,
Or is it
I
just
haven't
physical?
interacted with Jin since I did the helped with the upgrade on the ship, or however you want to look at that. However, in cases where they gravity clamp ships that have AIs on them, they also tend to put limiters on the AI. Now, his core stuff will still probably work, but it limits his functionality towards the rest of the ship. So yeah, he would need to be freed. I'm guessing right now your AI is shackled.
Okay, so 2 jobs. We got a physical and physical and programming related that we do. Now, also you mentioned.
No, they're
I
both
heard-
programming related.
Okay,
Freeing Gin would be a network issue. And really,
I-
it's the same network issue. But anyway, I'm sorry.
I'd heard that, or you'd mentioned that there's maybe a ghost in the system or a second template that's on there. How concerning is that? Like, we're gonna get killer AI 2 minutes out the door, or is this something you need to boot the system?
Bishop actually has a lot to say about that.
I'm not sure that I can fully answer that question just yet, but so like Short odds, long odds. Short odds, there's just a glitch in the system. I can find out where the glitch came from and remove it. I can tell you, and Sergey's not here, right?
Sergei's not there. In
I
fact,
can tell-
the other guy has taken off.
I can tell you that whole idea that I was reading some other ship's AI, that's fucking bullshit. I don't make those kind of mistakes. So there's a secondary, or there is an anomalous reading that suggests there's potentially the secondary personality that's using the same construct as your AI. So that's concerning because it's affecting the performance of your AI.
Also,
Long
I'd like to know
odds-
when that went in so we can maybe
long
narrow down
odds-
who put it on there.
Could it be evil AI that's going to try to kill you? Certainly. I don't think that's the case, but I haven't got enough readings yet. All I know is I found anomalous radiation readings that I couldn't
All right,
explain,
guys.
and this intermittent situation with what looked like another personality. Based on the time frames and how limited that was, if this is something trying to take over your AI, it's in the early stages of it. So that's why, like I said, I don't like puzzles that I haven't solved. Or maybe I like puzzles too much and I want to get back on and figure this one out. The
I mean,
problem
as
is,
Space Jesus once said, who among us doesn't have an embedded other personality? They cast the first stone.
the problem is, once we get, if we're able to get all of your guys on the ship, I would need to be on the ship with Jin's assistance to get, once I can unshackle Jin, I would need his assistance to get the gravity clamps removed. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But at that point, it would mean you guys would need to take off fairly quickly because I'm not gonna be able to fool all of the people who are watching your ship for long.
Nope. And then let's talk about all the people on the ship. You said you have an idea how to
Which-
distract them. I was
which
gonna go for
means-
the old fire in the bar nearby that they all have to rush to, or something that would require them to leave because they have to render, they're obligated to render aid elsewhere.
But I want you to understand that means you're stuck with me. I'd have to be on your ship when it's freed.
Well, we have quite the luxurious suites for you to choose from. I'll have to move out a few cases of scotch out of your room, but
Now, you're welcome, you're welcome to leave those there. So here's the thing, the local police, they're, like I said, they're thugs with badges, think New Orleans. And they're not to be trifled with because they don't really bind themselves to the law. So taking you in the back and beating you half to death and getting a confession out of you is not outside of their realm of personalities. What they're generally not good at is cybersecurity. So my thought was, I would just hack their system, manufacture a message that looks like what they would normally receive from their CO, tell them that the perpetrators had been caught and that they were to report double time to one of the locations that would be relatively far away. So the hope being that they all then bail. If they all bail, and part of the message is to tell TILA that their interference is done, which would be par for the relationship between the locals and TILA, then maybe they would all go away. Now, that's sort of a risky proposition in that maybe some of them wouldn't, but at least it would be less than 12 if you had to go and strong arm your way past the rest. The other part of that was, prior to that, you loop the cameras so that anybody who's actually looking real time doesn't see any changes. They still think their guys are out there. Restart their system so they can't contact in to get confirmation on the order. So it's basically just, it's some computer and communication trickery. I can tell you that I've done some stuff like this on a smaller scale in the past, and it worked fine.
So question about, this is a question of Les.
Mhm.
Are killer credits are all money digitized now, or are there still physical assets?
In any sort of civilized area, all of money and transactions are digitized.
Yeah.
Now, on Tufik, for example, which does, so you guys remember from Tufik where you guys fought the cordyceps zombies, they had deliberately chosen a low-tech sort of culture and environment. So they used cash exclusively. Your credit chips didn't work there because there was no machinery to take
Right.
advantage of it.
The reason I asked this is I was thinking what better way to incentivize crooked law enforcement to say that there's unsecured killer credits at scene that need to be swept up as evidence.
Yeah, put it on the note. There's
That
a
will-
big pile of money just sitting
Yeah.
there.
That will put the hustle in their bustle.
I was thinking of that movie with Mila Kunis where she's the inheritor or the heir to the earth. Have you ever seen that?
What now?
There's an android. It's called Jupiter Rising.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I've heard of it.
there's an android walking her around what it amounts to space bureaucracy, which makes the DMV look tame. And the android keeps going, Graph is not part of my communication. Then he shoots like a credit card out of his wrist at whoever they're talking to. Graph is incompatible with my programming. Doing, and he clumsily throws like a credit stick at him or whatever. So they're getting their bribe.
So to your question, so there's not, I mean, they don't use paper money. What they do is they use, and I'm glad Chuck brought this up. They use credit sticks. Essentially what you can do is you can extricate a certain volume of credits on a physical unit. Think like a thumb
prepaid
drive.
debit card.
Yeah, a thumb
prepaid debit
drive.
card.
Right. So you put it on there and you can put X number of credits. They come out of your account and they're essentially out of the system until they're delivered to somebody and they put it in. But it works in a similar way in that it's
All right.
it's untrackable because so much of this happens. If you Weberjix pull out 500 kilocredits because you owe a poker debt, that's not something you necessarily want to just go and track because you don't want your wife finding out, right? So you put it on a thumb drive, you hand it to your buddy, he goes back, puts that thumb drive in his own banking network, inserts those 50 credits and drains the thumb drive, and then he uses it when he has to pay somebody. It's this similar kind of thing.
As this is being recorded, I just like to point, this is a hypothetical scenario. This would never happen in real life.
Excellent.
Okay, so all I was saying, maybe we could say that there's a Campto of credit sticks on the scene that need to be secured. That'll put some hustle in their bustle. Can we also agree that the Camptos from Mandalorian is the least convenient carrying device known to man?
The who?
Like the Campto, that's what they call him. These little his briefcase full of credits or armor bits or whatever he has in the Mandalorian. He's got these little weird like ice cream maker shaped case. Nobody's watching Mandalorian. Okay.
Yeah,
I have
know what
not,
you're talking
but
Okay. I just every time he opens it or whatever, like that is like the least convenient box I've ever seen in my life. I don't care if it's Star Wars or not.
about.
box
He
needs to be
carries
retired.
all of his stuff around in a Coleman cooler.
I
okay.
wish to see the baby.
And what are they, like little bits of metal?
Well, you're gonna have to watch the Mandalorian. You're missing a whole lot, Les.
I don't want
It
to.
actually is a good show, but yeah, he collects ingots.
Okay.
Okay, he collects ingots to
That-
upgrade
that
his
he-
armor. He's
that he then
constantly upgrading
takes-
his armor. Yeah.
Yeah, that he then takes to someone who can craft the armor piece. He pays them those ingots that he needs for them to make the armor, and then a surplus of ingots to pay them for their service.
And then the surplus ingots go to the foundlings, the next
Yes.
generation of Mandalorian.
It's
Yeah,
actually
come on,
a pretty
Les.
cool
There's
show.
a deep
It's
history.
a lot going here. A lot going on.
But I'm sure the box that they use is a legacy from previous Star Wars things. I can't think of where it's been at, but I'm sure that's why they used it. It's just I just think it's stupid. All right, I'm sorry. I took us off on a side there. So back to the main event.
So while you're waiting 12 hours to see if you get any response to any of your messages, do you want to go see if you can find your
Yes.
crewmates in that time, or are you talking about
Yeah,
sitting here for 12 hours?
Yeah. So do I know where the captain is? Because he was here, but I know he's not physically here. Right, Les? He was in this.
Right.
chamber. Okay,
Yeah,
so
he's in this chamber, but
just
not.
really
Yeah.
sleepy.
Yeah, he's really sleepy.
Yeah.
He's had a tough day.
So both bunks are full.
You had a bad day. Yeah, both bunks are full.
If you'd
The-
prefer to wait here until you get confirmation on any of your messages, I could go try to find your guys. I just need good descriptions. It'd be easier if you were there because then I don't ask, hey, are you so and so? And one of them tries to shank me.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
But I could still go do it on my own if that's your preference.
Everybody who tried to shank you is either dead or currently incapacitated. So you're fine.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
I've read the news feeds, guys. You guys rolled into TILA territory and started blasting.
That is not what
was?
happened.
Are you?
Are you saying that's fake news?
I'm saying that is a gross understatement of the situation that we found ourselves in.
So you, an
We
understatement.
are
So what you
merely
did was
trying to
actually
just
worse.
deal that we were brought there under false pretenses, and then they brought out the heavy artillery. We were forced to defend ourselves.
Why is there a giant blood
Most
stain on
most
the
of the
floor
damage
now?
I did was
That's Wagner's blood.
Oh,
was pounding on a space weasel until he talked. So
so I mean, it's up to you. Sergey said if I can help you out, to help you out. If you want to go try to find your boys, we can do that.
yeah, let's go. I mean, time's a wasting. So let's go.
So does this safe house has like a pair of maintenance coveralls or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's not much here, but yeah,
Right.
I mean, you could scare up a pair of coveralls.
But I mean, maintenance coveralls is basically what I'm wearing. So if
All
you
you need
wanted
is
to,
basic coveralls and a clipboard. I realized anywhere
Yeah.
you want to go, even in
so
the
if you
future.
want to throw on a pair of these maintenance coveralls and then do something, whatever disguise to your face, we can maybe
Yep.
not have to worry too much.
This guy, man, can I get one of those Rebel Alliance hats that really like hangs out like a pistachio shell over your head? That should keep most of the camera angles from hitting you.
All right, so you're gonna do so. So Jix, you're going to essentially try to disguise yourself and avoid being caught on camera in such a way that you know that you don't immediately get arrested the moment you step foot into a public space. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then I want to make sure this because I gotta figure out what the difficulty checks are. So this is essentially going to work like a skill check. Then you guys are going to go across town, find the place where Bishop Hawke saw who he thinks is the pilot. Or where he thinks the pilot would probably be hanging out in such a way that he could keep an eye on the ship and still be sort of anonymous. So you're going to check that area. And that's going to be something that both Hawke and Jix do.
And if
Then-
needs be, I can use my wrist computer to try to interfere with cameras, not
Okay.
blatantly, but cause one to move and it cause one to look the other way for 5 seconds, cause one to go fuzzy for 5 seconds, you know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Minor league stuff just to make it a little easier for him to pass.
Cool.
Okay.
I'll creep down the hallway.
And go around where the ship is so we don't pass by the
Nope.
guard guys and come in the bar from the back.
Okay. Yeah, you could get to your thought is if they're probably in this spot, you can get to that place pretty easily without going near the Gin and Tonic.
Yeah.
Right.
That said, did you want to go by there and check out to see exactly what the guard situation
I'll
is
see
like?
if I can get an eyeball on it, but I don't need to get too close. I got this lay of land, and I don't need to count the guards too much at this point. We need to
Yeah.
the technical expertise that Hawke is offering is probably more beneficial at this point. Now I want to go see if we can collect up some of our loose cadre here.
And if your
And-
captain's where I think he is, once we're there, you can probably get some eyeballs on.
Okay. And then, but I will just walk down the corridor like I know where I need to go, clearing my clipboard, wearing my coveralls. Before whenever Jix went into a life of soft crime here, he was a career military man, and he was like the Radar O'Reilly of making things move around, you know, outside of legally regular channels. So he's used to situations like this. You know, being somewhere looking like you need to belong where you are.
Soft
Okay.
crime.
So
Whacking
there any-
TILA agents is soft crime. I'd hate to see what you think hardened crime was.
nuclear
Well-
bomb out of a planet.
we've been
Nuclear
fighting
assault.
hard crime, you know, abduction of scientists, straight up murder of citizens left and right, abduction and freezing of scientists, straight up murder left and right. Bears with
Freezing.
friggin' grenade launchers showing up at the drop of the hat to put a hurt on us. And then
Wait, you
Um,
said freezing of scientists?
yeah, that's how we started this adventure. Is we were transporting a cargo, and halfway through realized that it's a guy in the cargo who's there against his will, frozen in a thing. So we went to go confront the would-be kidnappers to let's see if we could get a reward, or I don't remember exactly what our noble, I don't know if it was 100% noble. I think we were gonna do a shakedown of the bad guys to get more gear for our ship, because we had like a barely a smattering of weapons at a time. It went into a full-on gunfight. One of
That
them,
was fun.
one of them was captured. The one that wants Dr. Wagner dead because he ripped out her neural lace and her targeting eyeball and then snapped it onto himself. And then Coffin Doyle, I wanted to question her with a spoon and slapped her around with his wooden spoon for about a half hour. So she was not too keen on our crew.
She's
which
still
is where
angry that you guys shot, that somebody else shot Doyle.
All right.
Then she escaped and has been looking to get some payback on us ever since. And right now we've been kicked pretty hard and we're down. So this is about the least convenient time for her to want to show back up on this adventure.
She's been sending you guys threatening subspace messages.
And she is certainly no good guy. You know, she works for some of the most despicable people. Oh, and also we think these space bears are not necessarily doing it unless we have a suspicion they're doing it from something outside the Ursae like main line, right? They have another side gig going, right? We think there's
Well,
there's
yeah,
something
I mean,
brewing in space that we're not exactly sure what's happening, but it's definitely at the grand stage level, not this little rinky-dink
So-
crime stuff.
Ursae are kidnapping scientists?
correct. That's what you think. Yeah.
No, I assume we're walking towards where we're going.
Yeah.
I'll be trying to get just marginally nudge the security cameras away from him, and then carry on what I hope sounds like a casual conversation about kidnapped scientists.
Right. That's how we ended up with Spoffinlam, because Spoffinlam scientists are the ones being kidnapped, and his high-tech scientists are being taken somewhere. We've gotten a couple of images that it looks like a pretty sinister Death Star looking apparatus or something they're assembling. We're not sure exactly. I'm only speculating. Secondarily, when we went to go look into one of my pals, and I don't know if Les has explained, I know a guy rules you, but a guy I knew from back in the day, Palmer, was going to set us up with some gear. We get to his place, it's been raided by pirates. His AI has been murdered, which is a big deal in this universe.
Jackie
And
boy.
all his security guys are murdered, and we find him basically in a safe, in a panic room, hiding out until we're able to clear the station. While we're doing that, then these completely alien creatures pop in and out of a real space and subspace, put a hurting on some of us, this guy included, and we were able to fight them off. But they've been a thorn in our side at every step, no matter what we're doing in this world. There's these new unspecified subspace creatures, or whatever we're calling them, that can phase in and out of real space, that have been causing us serious problems. Which is
Okay,
what
so-
when you said there's a secondary overlay on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Les, the readings that I got off Jin, with him talking about creatures coming from
Jump space
subspace.
radiation. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You would
exactly
you would
the
clock
concern
with
you
that.
have.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm trying to make this seem like casual conversation, because I don't really know these guys yet.
Does your voice keep going up octaves as I'm telling you, like space aliens,
Space alien, kidnapped scientists,
kidnapping scientists, jinkies,
space bears.
gosh, Scoops, what are we gonna do?
We're gonna get stoned. I don't know, Raggy. Let's just get stoned.
All right. Before you guys do that, Wagner, I want you to roll 2d6 plus 2. These are points. So right now you're at 0425 on your skill pool. So this is going to be the next bit of rest.
Didn't mean to do that.
Dr. Wagner or Weber Jakes? Dr. Wagner, okay.
Dr. Wagner.
No, yeah, that's ignore that
Right,
in the roll.
So
That's
there's 1.
1d6.
4 plus 1 is 5.
That was an accident, but okay.
Do you want to
Sorry.
re-roll it or?
It happens. all the time.
I opened the advanced dice roller and I thought I hit D6 thinking anyway, that's fine. I can just roll 1d6 plus 2.
Yeah. So
All
that's a decent roll.
There you go.
So 5. So 9 total points. So on your let's just check and see where you're at. So your pool of might was 0. Your speed was down to 4. So you have 9 points to distribute amongst. Wait, this isn't even you. Hold on a second. Never mind. Here we go. Let's go look at WAG. There we go. So your might pool was down to 0. Your speed pool was down to 4. So in this case, you have 9 points, which would get you largely close to full pool. You're still going to be a little bit stiff because it's been 72 hours since you took three or 4 bullets. But you're back on your feet largely. But you could distribute those points however you wish.
Shouldn't it be 11 points?
No, he had the +2 here. So it's
Well, yeah,
D6 +1 for each
Oh,
roll.
I got you. 7.
So he was catching up.
I tried, Doc. Sorry, buddy.
Well, I appreciate the effort.
So you can distribute those. You let me know how you want to do that or anything like that. So you're going to be feeling better. I'll go ahead and take away the blood.
Oh, good, because I
From under-
was surprised that I was menstruating. It's not bad.
All right, first things first, disguise check. So I'm going to say the coveralls and the funny hat, not great. Unless you have some other thing that you can bring, that's going to be to avoid the cameras is going to be a DC 12 check.
Well, don't forget my monocle and my twirling mustache.
Oh,
Mhm.
that'll certainly lighten things up. No, they're looking for the monocle. The monocle is front and center on the thing. Watch
It's
out,
me,
guy with a
it's
monocle.
Mario.
Looks
So
like
does-
Super Mario.
So does manipulating the cameras give him an
So in that
assist or
case,
aid?
I definitely
absolutely. So in this case, you're going to do a DC 12 check, intellect check, essentially, to manipulate those cameras. You're going to
any
use the
bonuses
tools
there
that you
for my
have.
dis-
Not
my
you.
disguise?
So this is for Chuck. Chuck's got to do that roll. So Chuck, you can do an intellect check to do that. I'm going to say that to get the cameras to sort of bend your way, we'll do things. If you succeed, it's going to give him edge on his disguise check. So you should do yours first.
Okay, so I have a skill as to hacker. But
Okay.
I also have a skill hack the impossible.
Okay, this would
I'm-
be more like a possible thing.
Yeah, so as hacker, it cost me 1 intellect point,
Okay.
right? So I just going through this. So I -1 of that pool.
All right, and what do you get for that?
I get you gain quick access to a desired bit of information in a computer or similar device, or you access one of its primary functions.
Okay.
So I'm guessing I'm accessing a primary function of the security camera network, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so I spend 1 point of intellect, which I've removed that from my pool.
Okay.
And so the difficulty was 12. So does that make it 9?
No, that doesn't step the difficulty check. You just have direct access to the camera background computers. So it's still to twist it, you sort of have to use this power to get in there. Now you do have
Okay.
edge and you can use effort. So your edge is going to bring a point off of it right away. And that's 3 points. So the moment you use edge, since it's an intellectual thing, that's 3 points off. That brings it down to 9. If you are going to use intellect effort, of which you can use 3 more points, you can bring that down to 6.
Okay, but the effort point and the edge point, once I use them, I don't get them back until I've rested.
Edge you can use every time you have an intellect point.
Okay,
Effort
okay.
you have to rest. Now keep in mind that your first rest is only an action long.
Right, but so I'll use edge.
Okay. So that
which
brings
drops
the
it down 3 points.
3 points to 9. So a DC 9 check.
Okay, so then I roll a d20.
Correct.
So that's the 16.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So you did not need to use effort in this case, but now you have computer access to the camera system for the region that you guys are. You haven't got access to the whole camera system, but you have access
No,
to the
just
camera
what we're
system that
moving
control.
through.
Yeah, so you can basically move those cameras around so that they're looking the wrong way when you guys come over.
Right.
Basically, what you're doing is clearing a path. The analogy is like in some of those heist movies where they hack into like the Los Angeles traffic computers and
Right.
change the lights so that they're green
Yeah.
on the escape route and then red everywhere else.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. That's basically what you're doing. All right, so that gives you an advantage, Weber, when you do that. So we said it was a DC 12 to do that. You're going to use. This is an intellect challenge. So you use your intellect pool for points on this. You are deceptives. You are skilled in deception, or trained in deception. So that brings it down to a 9. You get another bonus from Bishop's work to turn the cameras in the wrong direction. That brings it down to a 6. Is there anything else that you can do to affect that?
Cryptography, perception, persuading, see through deception. I'm very good at convincing people. I have a lot of like social engineering skills. So if there's anybody that's not a computer who's looking at me or talking to me, I have the abilities to help dissuade them from looking at me or convincingly exude a different persona than my own.
Right, but that's a personal person-to-person thing. You're talking about fast talk?
Yeah, well,
Well, you can. So you have. So you're down to a 6. You also have edge, which you can use anytime you're doing an intellect check, which is now.
Okay.
So you use that edge point. That brings it down to a 3. And if you expend a point of effort or 3 points of intellect, that brings it down to a 0 and makes it.
So you don't have to roll.
You don't have to roll.
In this particular case, I will do that. I don't think I really need it. I feel like I could have made that roll, but let's just make this part of the thing move along. So if I understand it, how much of my intellect has been used for this pool at the moment?
3 points.
3 points.
So your intellect is down to I was a mistake. So you're down to 12 now.
Well, okay, got him. Okay.
All right. So yeah, so you guys accomplish both of those things, and you find yourselves nearby the bar in which Chuck, that Bishop believes would be the most likeliest space. It's a bar, hotel. It's kind of seedy. It's near Space Dock. It's actually quite near where the Gin and Tonic is parked, so that to go view that ship would be a 2-minute walk from the front door of this place. And it's a self-serve place, so they would take money. You wouldn't necessarily have to create. You could use the thumb drive option to pay for things here.
So we'll duck in there.
Okay.
And I'll tell Weber, this is the most likely spot, man. Look around and see if you can find your people.
All right. So I need a DC 10 perception review to determine to see if you see anybody you know.
Okay. So is there any bonuses here?
Well, you're trained in perception. So that would be a step that brings it down to a 7.
So I don't know, 2d6. No
D20.
Oh, D20. Okay, sorry. I was getting D6 ready from Traveler. All right, 1 second. D20. Any bonuses on that? Like one D20 plus.
Well, it's an intellect check, so you can use edge, which means you can drop it down. What did I say? 7. You drop it down to a 4 by using edge.
No, I'll just do 7. It's fine.
But you don't have to. It doesn't elapse. And so the thing about edge and effort are different in certain ways. So edge, you use every time, and it's fine. Effort, you've already used, so you don't get that right now.
All right, so I'll use my edge. So I need to roll
4 or better. Yeah. Okay. So you roll a 7, and you're looking around, and you would sort of Bishop have sort of gone in and the bartender, you head up to the bar and you're sort of looking around sort of very surreptitiously. Bishop is on his terminal, he's got like an arm mounted computer terminal that he's sort of like looking into, and he's looking into, you can see he's using his neural lace on certain things to keep things moving and keep an eye on sort of the outside area to make sure you guys haven't been sussed. But as you sort of look around, you do see at a table sort of in the back, Gawker and another man, somebody you haven't seen before, tall, sort of rangy, older guy, probably in his mid 40s, a little beat up looking. I don't know. Eric, can you describe Mallory Graves for us?
Sure. Mallory is actually fairly short. He's 5'6".
Okay. Apologies for that. He looks tall when he's sitting down.
But
It's mostly torso.
he is age 43. He looks mid 40s, but actually he looks older. He looks like he's been knocked around some. He looks kind of he's wearing somewhat drab clothing. It's the clothing is obviously old, well used, but he has mended and sewn it, so it's still in good shape. What you notice though is his eyes. They're kind of green and they kind of look weird, like something happened to his eyes, and now he's got these eyes, he has
Sorry. Go ahead.
kind of shaggy gray hair. He has a gray beard, and he looks a little anxious, maybe even jumpy. Like he's obviously got hyper vigilance that he is consciously controlling. So he's not doing this, but he is kind of looking around, and he's sitting with his back to the wall. He looks like he does not have any guns, and he's nursing a beer.
Not having guns can't be related to Weber to Coffin Doyle at all. Well, I will be bellying up to the bar and ordering a draft. I would like one of your local ales, please. And then just trying to get, if I can get Gawker's attention, because I don't know this guy from Adams. I want to make sure he's not under duress or something. Let's see if it's safe to approach or if he wants to meet elsewhere.
So you keep looking, and you can tell that that Gawker is trying to, like, you can see Gawker is doing most of the talking, but occasionally Graves will do it. It doesn't look like they're threatening each other or anything like that. In fact, if anything, it looks like they're planning together, or they seem pretty collegial. As you watch,
romantic interlude. I don't want to interrupt. If
not as far as you can tell, pants are still on.
Candlelight and then like a Lady in the Tramp tablecloth in the middle. Okay.
There's a big bowl of spaghetti in the middle of them.
Sharing a noodle.
So, but they seem to be, and as you're watching, another round of beers sort of arrives at the table, and the waitress takes away the empties, and you could see they sort of like clink glasses before they both take another slug. So it does seem, whatever the conversation is, it does seem collegial. We'll stop there for a second. What I'd like, Dr. Wagner, I'd like you to do something for me. As you're sort of feeling better, so I'd like you to make a DC-10 medical check, a diagnostic check. Basically, you want to check your cybernetics. You've been hit by bullets. The flesh parts of your body are okay, but you want to check. You got to do some self-tests on the cybernetics, because you're worried that some of your machine parts might not be functioning appropriately, and that is something that you're not qualified to fix. Not as qualified, I should say.
Something that a tiger penis poultice won't fix.
Yeah, it won't necessarily fix that.
Well, now I could
Chuck doesn't
dispute
even know
that.
the legend of the space tiger penis.
Wait. No, you didn't say there would be tiger penis in this game.
Space tiger penis. I misspoke. Space tiger
Space tiger
penis.
penis.
Mutant.
It's a long story. So it's a DC-10. intellect check. You have edge. You have not expended any effort so far, so you could use that if you want to use it in this check.
Do I have to use it before I roll?
You have to declare, yeah, if you're going to use it before you roll. The edge will bring that, just deploying edge will bring that down to 7, so it's a DC 7. You do have medicine, which you are skilled, which brings it down 2 steps or another 6 points, so it's a DC 1 at this point. So I don't know that I would waste the effort to bring it to a 0, because you can easily roll a 1 or better on this check if you get on a D20. If you get my meaning.
Okay, so roll a d20.
Yep.
Okay.
And don't roll a 0.
Yeah, try not to roll a 0 if you can.
Okay.
And just real quick while he's looking that up, just to tell you the kind of groups I end up getting involved with, this is not the first gaming group that had a long running thing with tiger penis.
What?
Wow, you really get around, Chuck.
I played in a D&D game. One of the guys was playing this monk herbalist, and one of the ingredients he had, for whatever reason, was tiger penis.
Oh, good. I was worried you were going to say your bowling team.
No, this was a D&D game, but this is now the second gaming group I've been involved with that for some reason has attached itself to tiger peni.
Well, also Ursae.
Yeah, but there's been no
Ursae
mention,
porn.
there's been no mention so far of Ursae peni.
Bear porn and
Just bear
Ewok
porn.
pelt. It's bear
No,
porn.
actually,
Ewok
I
pelt,
did
and
take
tiger
some
penis.
during their abandoned, shot up spaceship.
So this is just a
Wait,
generally
who gets upset every time I
peni focused group.
who
not
gets
just
upset every
tiger.
time I see
Well, we
Ewok
prefer to
pelts?
say Freudian. It sounds a little more respectable.
Which one of us always gets upset every time I see Ewok pelts? Is that Dan?
Dan, yeah, he's
He gets
still upset
every
about the
time.
Ewok
Stop.
pelts.
You're like we're doing a shipment the first time, and Les gives it like a nondescript thing, like it's Ewok pelts, clearly, like, and Dan gets real bent out of shape about it. So
He did
you
not.
gotta keep
Does-
poking that bear.
Does Disney own Star Wars? That might have something to do with it.
Oh, is
Yes.
that what it is?
That's
Oh,
what
right.
it is.
Yeah.
He's guarding his company's intellectual
I-
property. He doesn't
I-
want you guys
I-
bandying around
I-
Ewok pelts all afternoon.
I got it. Some Canal Street knockoff brand Ewok
And
pelts.
this gets posted on YouTube.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't realize
So,
we were putting Dan
If
in
Disney,
danger.
if Disney's Nazi lawyers ever were to find Dan being involved in an Ewok pelt conversation, that might not go well for him.
That
professionally.
might, yeah,
I get
he's too
I-
high
yeah,
up in
I'm
the
gonna take
company.
this
He's got a
under-
lot to lose.
I'm gonna take this into advisement and see if I can come up with some sort of compromise with Ewok pelts.
Well, so Dr. Wagner, obviously a 17 is more than enough to get to the bottom of it, and you are suffering some damage. There's some neural damage to your lace, which would probably, frankly, needs repaired. It might interfere with some things. There's also some damage to some of the other cybernetic components that you have, most notably the self-installed targeting computer. So that's a little bumpy. You do, I have noticed, have computer skills.
Mhm.
And so those theoretically could be used to try and enact repairs with the terminal that you have here in the safe house and things like that. Do you want to attempt that?
Sure.
All right, so that's going to be a little tougher to fully repair those units. You're going to have to do some things that are a little bit wonky. First of all, you're going to have to bifurcate sort of your conscious self from the neural lace so that you can enact certain repairs. Essentially, you're going to have to teach your the nanos in your bloodstream to enact repairs on the neural lace sort of by conscious direction, but you have to bifurcate your sensorium from that. That's going to be tough. Second, the targeting computer, that's more hands-on kind of thing, but since it's behind your head and you have to sort of think your way into it, you're looking at a DC 24 check for each of those things to do the repairs. Now, this would be easier on the ship where you have access to all the machinery in the ship's med bay. But out here in a safe house where you're working with whatever's the contents of your bag and a shitty sort of Dell laptop that they left you guys here and told you not to use.
Dude, you're getting a Dell. And I
And
said, no, I'm not. And they said, yes, you are. And
Yes,
I-
you are.
And a shaving mirror to try to get behind.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
lace.
So it's going to be tough.
Well-
It's an intellect thing. You do have it's stepped down because you're trained in computer, so you will get, so the 24 goes to a 21. The edge will bring it to an 18.
Well, I've also got anatomy and chemistry.
Tell me how you're going to use anatomy. Chemistry's not going to help you. Tell me how you're going to use
Well, sure it
anatomy to
is.
help
The
you,
brain is all chemistry.
except for the anatomy parts.
Well, that's where the anatomy comes in.
Well, you're doing physical repairs on stuff, so I don't know that. I mean, chemistry. So how are you using chemistry? Are you saying I'm gonna balance my brain chemistry in certain ways that it provides a nutrient bath so that I don't get infected or something like that?
Well, I'm going to use my knowledge of chemistry to boost my hormone levels, to increase my awareness, my dexterity. It's almost like tickling that hypothalamus fight or flight, where I'm going to do both. I'm going to fight for my life, and I'm going to let my fingers fly.
All right, I'll allow it. Okay. That's going to bring you down to, what do we say? You were at 18. Now that's a 15.
Yeah, come on. You use medical words and everything, Les.
I know.
Right?
I like it. All right,
And
so you're
I-
down
I
to
was reminded of that classic episode of Spock's brain on Star Trek
Yeah.
where Bones has to transplant his brain.
But
Great
your
episode.
your fight or flight subroutine is usually fixed, and there's a third option. There's fight, flight, and freeze. So if you have
I have a freeze ray.
if you have a bunny's a rabbit's ideology about life, you might get freaked out and just go, "Ugh."
deer do that too. If you yell at deer, they'll stop if they're running past you.
Or better yet, what about those goats that if you spook them, they just go "Ugh," and
Yeah,
fall
love it.
over?
They fall over.
Hilarious.
All right, so you're down to a 15. You still have effort. You can deploy effort, your intellectual effort, to try and do this. You haven't used that point. That'll bring it down another 3 points to 12 if you want to do that.
And
But
what
you'll have to-
happens if I don't get the roll?
Then you don't fix the stuff.
Oh, I don't, but no damage done.
Well, it depends on how low you roll.
Oh,
So
jeez.
if you roll a natural 1, then you may have a problem. You're like, oh, there goes a bunch of gray matter.
Look, I short circuited my prefrontal cortex.
Oh.
That sucks.
Crap, I touched my hypothalamus. That's bad. That's gonna be bad. So you're down to
Yeah.
12. If you use effort, you lose 3 points of intellect, or you burn 3 points of intellect, but you will get 3 points on the DC, which will bring it to 12.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
All right, that's the way I like it. All right, so you're down to your 22 pool on intellect, but you are now down to, what did I say, DC 12?
Yes.
Big money, no whammies.
All right, and that's going to be on both. Is there anything else that you can convince me would work?
Well,
Remember when we
since
watched
you're
that episode
asking
of Grey's
for it,
Anatomy? Yeah.
so I'm going to use my power of deception to convince myself that I am much more skilled than I really am. And I'm so good at deception that I believe it. And I actually do get a bonus in my dexterity.
This is not a dex. This is not a speed check. This is a intellectual check.
Well,
So
I
I'm gonna-
deceive myself into thinking I'm more gifted and skilled than I am.
Hey, Jerry, it's not a lie.
It's not.
You
I don't
believe
think
it.
that that's going to help you. I'm not going to allow that one.
Oh, okay. Well, I had to try.
The only other thing that I can see that you might be able to deploy against the DC 12 is your skill at your trained skill in anatomy, which is separate from your medicine skill.
Okay. I like that. Let's use that.
How are you going to use your anatomy skill to?
Well, I
use
am
that?
so skilled at anatomy that I know the various areas where the net connects with the various neuro
Those things.
neuronodes within my prodigious brain, so that I'm less likely to mess up because I know it down to, like beyond the decimal points of pi.
You are so basically what I think you're saying is you're so familiar with your own anatomy and the general precepts of medical anatomy in general for humans that this is going to allow you a level of expertise, even though you're looking the wrong way and you're sort of using like Chuck pointed out, you're using a shaving mirror and a Dell laptop to figure this
Right.
shit out.
Right.
That it's going to keep you from making mistakes. I'll allow it. So that brings it down to a DC 9. So that 9 or better is for both. So you got to do 2 checks. One to repair your neural lace, the other to repair the targeting. Do you have any other cybernetic components?
No, just the lace and the eyeball.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you for 2 checks, DC 9 on each, 2
Okay.
D20s. The first one, you tell me which one you want to do first and which one you want to do second.
I have to
Please, God,
tell you
don't roll-
first.
Please, God, don't roll a 1.
Yep.
Rolling a 1 means you just separated your brains.
Yeah, the hip bone
Well,
connects to
that's-
the thigh bone. Don't
Did
forget
you guys
that.
ever see the movie Hannibal?
Yes.
Hey, are we talking about the cannibal or the crossing over the mountains with an elephant?
No, the cannibal, the second
Cannibal.
one where
gotta
he
specify that.
feeds Ray Liotta's brain to him.
Yeah. That was a classic scene.
Awesome stuff. All right, so which one are you going to do first, the neural lace or the targeting computer or the targeting eyeball?
Well, can I use the targeting eyeball without the neural lace?
Not really. So
Well-
probably neural lace should go first.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So
here
what
we
if
go.
I do a critical fumble? Am I just totally hosed?
Well, we'll have to see. Yeah. Well, not totally hosed. It's just maybe you end up being more damaged than you started out with.
Well, I am divorced.
That's true.
Yes.
Oh, so that is an 8. Barely missed it. So you do not get the you try and spend a couple hours working on it, but you can't seem to get the neural lace back to full operational. You suspect that if you can get the eyeball working, that you can convince the neural lace to control it. But as far as connecting to the local network or the ship's network or anything like that, you're convinced that you need the facilities that you have in the med bay on the GNT. You are more interested now than ever of getting back into the ship.
Okay.
Now, the targeting eye. Ooh, there you go. All right. So you do get that repaired. The shaving mirror is of high quality. The Dell computer, after you strip out all of the shareware and the solitaire games and stuff like that, works pretty good. And you do end up being able to make the required adjustments. The damage wasn't that great. You're able to patch some of the separated things, and you find yourself, and your neural lace is acting at least good enough where you can use that for targeting. So it's back in business.
Okay.
All right. Your neural lace is still damaged somewhat. And like I said, you need med bay to be able to fix it. You just don't think in your medical opinion that the rudimentary tools that you have here in the safe house are going to be satisfactory to do that. Also,
Gotcha.
your head itches. All right, back to the bar. We're back at the bar with Jix and Hawke. Weber, Hawke, you don't know these guys, so you don't know what they look like. But Jix is basically saying, I think those are the guys over there. Do you? I'm assuming, Matt, you tell that Jix tells Hawke, those are the guys. That's the guy.
Well, I say that guy right there, that's one of ours. I don't know the guy you're talking to, but I'm trying to get his attention to see if he's under duress or is it safe to approach.
So how do you try to get his attention? You just sort of like doing this at the bar, like, hey, Gawker, hey.
I'm gonna try the tried and true, like, over here.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So something very subtle that
We're on Cymbeline Station, the highest of high-tech space stations in all of the Cymbeline system. You guys are sitting in a cyberpunky bar with your neural laces humming away and that kind of stuff, and you're like, Meditam. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, if that doesn't work, then I'm gonna find the.
You just gonna
There
throw a
must be
shot glass over there?
Yeah,
his-
this must be a facility, so I can walk by his table. Like, is the restroom this way? And walk to the restroom and see if Mematam follows me in a
See.
truly professional way. And don't anybody get any other ideas.
So
Yeah,
you're trying to
his-
convince the pilot to follow you into the restroom.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And there's more tiger penis. So his neural lace is not doing anything, I assume, because he's staying off it, right? Do I need
Yeah,
to-
he's not doing anything under
Do I need to
release.
like wrap tinfoil around his head? So he does-
No, he basically you could take it basically offline, and which Jix has, and frankly, you feel sort of like it's like you know that feeling when you've like your phone doesn't work and you can't get to the replay place. You feel like you've been grounded to the 18th century. It's like that. Internet's out. It's the same feeling like when the internet's out. You're like, what am I gonna do? Fucking read a book?
Do you want our parents just pushed us out of the house and said, "Don't come back till dark"?
Yeah, exactly.
I could have been harvested for parts in a van.
Some of us
They're
were.
like, he's like my parents, he's fine.
That's why Generation X is the smallest cohort, man. We lost a lot in the late 70s and early 80s.
He's like,
Well,
Many
he's over
of
there
us didn't
at
make it.
Only the
construction site
weak-
playing the asbestos and
only
using
the
those
weak and the
floral
stupid.
tubes. Remember the lightsaber tubes that you use the
Mhm.
fluorescent tubes
Yeah.
to smash each other with? Sorry, Chuck, you were saying?
I was just saying, we only lost the weak and the stupid.
Yeah.
Only the strong survived.
If you got in the van that said free candy, you just deserved it. I mean, come on.
But everybody loves candy.
When I was growing up, there was a comic, and I can't remember what comic it was. There's a lot of Dark Horse comics around the time, but there was a villain called the Van Master that went around and abducted children, kept them in dog crates in his van, and did terrible things to them. And so when we were like running around at night when we weren't supposed to, like ditching out of our houses at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever, running around, we were like, "It's the Van Master!" every time we see headlights, and we'd run into somebody's backyard and lay flat until the Van Master went by. So if you
Well,
were
I think-
driving like a 1970s panel van, we were terrified of you.
You know, the other thing that fries me that really only our generation ever dealt with was woods-based pornography.
Oh yeah, the
so-
old behind the school.
Yeah, it was like everyone. I don't think there's probably anyone on this call that didn't at some point either know about or physically find some pornography in a woodland area. It was like how
It was bear porn.
Yeah, who's distributing it, first of all? And it's like there's a guy in a panel van and he's got a stack of like Playboys and Hustlers in the back, and every time he goes past a wooded area, he just like throws one out there for kids to find.
It's like the porn paperboy, just
He's the porn fairy. He's Johnny Hustler Seed.
There you go.
Yeah, they're like the historians in the future will like show like a map of his travels of where these Hustler episodes are found. Like Hustler February 1981 was found here, and 1980 March of 1981 was found here. So you can see his traversing the country here.
Yeah, there's an episode of Fringe where they track it all through the United States, all through the years. We have reports of many penthouses being found in the wooded regions of this
Right.
area.
13 and 14-year-olds of having an eye-opening experience.
That and Colonel Wilma Deering got me through junior high.
Twiggy, 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 twiggy.
What up, Buck?
Those
I do
silver
like a good
jumpsuits.
Twiggy, good
So
Twiggy,
does he get this guy's attention, or? 'cause
So yeah, I
basically-
mean, he walks right over to him is what I'm assuming. He's like, "Hey, Cocker, what are you doing? I'm going to be in the can for a minute. Come on in."
I'm gonna try to make eye contact as I go by. The one thing I know about Gawker is he tries to draw little attention to himself as possible. So as long as his perception is not set to 0, he's not going to be.
There is a moment after a couple of really heavy coughs that Gawker does look over, and you see him sort of do a double take. And you're pretty sure that he's recognized you because he sort of looks over and you can see him sort of like nod a little bit. And then he goes back to talking. It's obvious that he's trying not to make a big production of the fact that you guys know each other.
Okay. So I'm going to head to the alcove or whatever facilities used for little aliens around here to use. The little aliens room.
The little aliens room.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
All right.
whatever
you're in there.
orifice that they need to, leave from time to time, there's got to be a place for that. And that's where I'm going to pop over real quick.
Hold on, I gotta type. I'm going to the little aliens room. Hold on a second. I gotta do this. Okay.
I must unburden my orifice.
I'm going to the little aliens room. Okay, excellent.
That space meat went right through me.
All right, so you go in there, and about 30 seconds later, Gawker comes in. And basically, he's like, "Are you guys okay? What's going on?" He hasn't heard anything but what he's seen on the the news, right? Which is basically, as Bishop Hawke pointed out, you guys are a bunch of bloodthirsty maniacs who murdered, in cold blood, gunned down, a couple of dozen TILA guys, kidnapped several more, raped a few aliens, and then, escaped. So there's like an all points station-wide manhunt going on for you bloodthirsty monsters. Everyone considers armed and dangerous, and he's like, are you guys okay? That kind of thing. But yeah, basically he's telling you the news has got you guys made out to be some sort of psychotics.
We're in a bad situation where we're about to extricate ourselves out with 0 casualties. Well, wounded, but 0 casualties. A one-armed maniac, Coffin Doyle, shows up on the scene and went out in a blaze of glory on the front door. So it all went to hell. And but unfortunately, Doyle didn't make it. We've been on the road. Everybody's injured. I'm the most mobile at the moment, which I'm here, and I got one of Sergei's contractors helping us out. He's a hacker. He thinks he might be able to help us bust off the station. As you can see, there's like physical security plus all the computer wizardry that needs to be done before we break free. So
that's good. That's good to know, because he'll say, I can't get anywhere. So Gawker says, I can't get anywhere near the ship, so I can't find out. Because remember, they told us that there was a problem with Gin. I can't get back on. I have to be back on the ship to find out if any of my tests bore fruit. I can't get anywhere near it, and I can't use neural lace to log into Gin because they're monitoring. I'm sure they're monitoring our AI. They'll know right away. He says, I went past her a couple of times. I don't dare get much closer than, a few dozen meters, but there's TILA guys there. There's Cymbeline Constab there. They're setting up a guard, and
right. I tried our legal remedies to see if we can bust out of here because we have cargo we have to deliver. We're on a hook to deliver, regardless of all the rest of the shenanigans that have gone on here.
Yeah, you've got 87 tons of cargo headed for Ember.
And,
but I have to laugh. You guys ever see Seinfeld where he talks about how he tried to get the girl's pinky toe to the hospital and took over the bus and drove the bus, and they called him Batman, and they said, "You still made the stops?" And all I could think of is, you guys are on the run from TILA. You're the bears are out to get you. You're under interdiction. Everybody wants to kill you, but you still kept dropping off the cargo.
Hey man. Our creditors are like our Space Columbia Music House. You don't want to F with those guys. They will.
Emix is still out. Emix is still out for you. You paid him off.
Yeah, I had to fake my own death with that Bobby McFerrin CD. They're never gonna find me.
Oh, don't worry, be happy.
Matt Meadow never did that, but the Matt Smith, he was quite the prolific Columbia Music House aficionado.
Sorry. Bobby McFerrin CD ! Here we go. Okay. Okay. So basically he says, well, it's interesting. You should bring up Coffin. I read on, I saw on the news that he had been killed. Moment of silence. But you won't believe who I've got at the table out there is a guy named Graves. Him and Coffin were like buddies in the military. He came, he was in Cymbeline, heard that the Gin Tonic was parked here, came to see his old buddy just in time to learn that he'd gotten killed. Now he's pissed. He wants revenge. I'm thinking we should, he's like, we need a security chief. What do you say?
If he's got skills, we could certainly use them right now. And we're a little hard up for talent right now. We need all the hands we can get until we get up to 100% strength again. And we got so many problems and we need more hands to fix them. So I'm all for it. So does he look like he'll go on a killing spree on day one, or if not?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's like when they interview the neighbors of serial killers after they catch them. It's like, so that murderous guy that lived next door to you, what was he like? He was quiet, kept to himself a lot, that kind of stuff. Seemed like a nice guy. Do you think he killed all those people? Oh yes, it's really all he ever talked about. Was murder and murder-related activities.
Every time over at the neighborhood cookout, it was all about, here's the list of people and I'm gonna start with, and we're like, oh Bob. Yeah,
it was like it's basically reminiscent of Who Killed Buckwheat, back to the Saturday Night Live thing from the late 70s. You guys remember? Did you guys remember that?
Yeah,
with Eddie Murphy?
Damn it! Yeah, I remember.
Tell us, I forget what his name was, what Eddie Murphy's name was, but they kept cutting away to the remote guys interviewing the guy's neighbors, and he says, "Tell us about him." He was like, "Oh, he was quiet, kept to himself. Do you think he killed buckwheat?" "Oh, yes, it's all he ever talked about was killing buckwheat." And they show him being on the perp walk. He's like, "Hi, everyone, I killed buckwheat. I killed buckwheat." He's like walking by. Oh, it's so funny. All right, so basically, Gawker says, let me introduce you to this Graves guy. Let's figure out what to do next. He's like, "Look, I don't know where you guys are hiding out, and I don't want to know. I'm thinking that I'm going to keep an eye on the ship and be close by in case we need to move. So I'm where, but Graves might want to go back with you to interview him. He's going to want to, not interview, but he's going to want to talk to the captain and that kind of stuff. See if he wants to come with us on this, this thing. In the meantime, as far as escaping, they've got the ship, they've got guards, they've got the ship gravity clamped. I can't get anywhere near there. We're going to have to figure out a way to get onto the ship, release the clamps, release the AI inhibitions, and launch, and then get out to the Lagrange point so that we can activate the jump drives. What I can tell you is if I have Gin, I can get our jump drive set by the time we fusion drive out to the Lagrange points. By the time we get far enough away that I can enact the jump drive, I'll have the calculations ready we can get, and I can just send us wherever we want to go. There's a lot of different systems around here that we can pop into. And what I can do is during that week's travel, I can have the calculations. We can go from jump to jump to jump and throw off pursuit because TILA is going to pursue.
Yeah, and all we can do, I mean, there's not much I can do about that besides them, or not much we can do about that, but pursuing us. All I can do is exercise what heavies we have on the outside that might be able to bring to bear either evidence against the guy who got us into that situation in the first place, being a bear, a stooge, or see if there's a way to keep TILA from putting us on the list, because I don't know how we'll be able to conduct any legit business if we're
got to clear your names.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like there is maybe a way out of this. Gawker didn't know this, but you can tell Keith Smitchy's been arrested and released sort of to house arrest. Theoretically, you could find out where he lives and go pay him a visit.
I'm all for that. I'm just thinking, what can we get out of him? We don't already know. We already know he's a stooge. We already know he's looking for us, so we could easily find him, by making him think he can find us. But what benefit can we do to get it from him? So I'm open to ideas, guys. So I'm gonna meet. I'm sorry, is it Mallory? You said.
Yeah, he's gonna bring you out and basically since you guys move up to the table. Bishop, you join them. Another round of beers, and Gawker says, "Guys, I want you to meet Mallory Graves. He was a friend of Coffin Doyle's."
Well, let's raise up our glasses and drink one back for Doyle. I'll pour a little on the ground for him too.
Cheers.
The Doyle.
Yeah.
The Doyle. So, wait, you guys were friends with Doyle?
Oh yeah, we went way back. Doyle saved my bacon a few times. I saved his.
Doyle was a good judge of character. If he trusted you, I'm gonna trust you too. I worked with Doyle, and I have a lot of respect for him. I'm real down to hear that he died. He was always a little bit of a angry hothead, but he had good cause to be. But anyway, nice to meet you. I'm Mallory Graves.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Graves. And I understand from Gawker, from my associate here, that you're looking for maybe a sign up. You kind of come at a poor time to sign up when we got so much heat on us, but you're welcome if you want to take on some of the burden we're facing, and you're welcome to equal share. Same to you, Bishop. We equal share on the ship, and as long as you want to stay on. But right now we got
your spoon.
Break the. Right now we got to figure a way to the four of us at this table and Wagner. Have to figure out a way to get on that ship and get the heck out of Dodge.
You
And
guys
Speaking
got
of-
you guys got any scotch on that ship?
They got
maybe
they
just
got a
little
couple of
bit.
cases of Tufix scotch on that ship.
Yeah, but we have one case because we gave one to Sergei, as I recall. But,
Right.
So while everybody, now that we're all together, while they're sitting around, can I access the security cameras that are looking at the gin and tonic? What time of day is it, by the way? Is it evening at this point?
Yeah, early evening, I would say.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. So I want to access the security cameras
Okay.
for the gin and tonic. Do I need to hack that?
Yeah, so
or-
that's going to be a hack check. So you've already entered the regional security camera network once. So that's gonna step that down. Normally, I would say this is a DC 15 check. It's going to start at a 12 for you to get in there. So
then-
depending on what you want to do,
Right, so if I use hacker one, which
Mhm.
is you access its primary function.
right?
it'll-
Yeah, you just
it'll-
walk right back in.
And then I have computers using and exploiting, so that drops it by a tier, right?
That drops it a tier, so down
For
to
the
9.
skill. And then I can use edge,
Correct? 6.
which will drop it down to 6. So first off, let me drop. Oh, why is my thing so, oh, there we go. Why is it so giant? So I'm gonna spend. Actually, I'm gonna spend 2 points for hack the impossible.
Okay.
Does that allow me to?
So hack the impossible. Let me look at your sheet here. I just want to make sure I'm looking at the thing here. So you're gonna do hack the impossible. You can expect robots, computers to do your bidding. Yeah. So yeah, burn the 2. That will drop it another tier to down to 3.
Right, so discover an encrypted password, break through security on a website, briefly turn off a machine, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna use this just so I can make it a little easier on myself, I guess.
Okay.
And what I want to do at this point is all of the cameras that have the gin and tonic in its range, I want to record as much as I can where nobody's walking through the shot. So
Okay.
just the ship clamped, if you can physically see that, with the security people out in front of it, moving around if they're moving around, but nobody walking in and out of the shot.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Kind of. What are you trying to get?
What I'm going to
wait.
do is I'm recording video so that at when we decide to make this move, I can put that video in and loop it, and it will look normal or as normal. I mean, you can't make it look entirely.
Oh,
normal,
I
but-
see what you're trying to do. You're trying to get you're trying to get video of the ship
Lockdown
without people in it, right?
with the guards in it. And as long as if the guards are just hanging out, fine. If the guards are moving around, fine. But if I can record, and depending on how much they're moving, if I can record a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, whatever,
Okay.
where there's not any outside people like walking from north to south through the shot,
Mhm,
then if
mhm.
I loop that, it will look like everything is just normal.
Right. I get you.
And all I want to do at this point is hack it to record that video to be used later.
Got it. All right. So you don't necessarily want to spend a lot of time. All right. So the hack itself is a DC3. You've got that down to DC3, and that's pre-effort. I don't know if you've already used your effort this time.
I haven't.
You haven't. So you still have effort. If you want to take it down to a 0, you can use effort. That'll take it down to a 0, and it'll be an automatic hack inside.
Right.
Or
at
you can
this-
roll it.
Now, I was gonna say at this point, failing this will mean I don't get the video, right?
Correct.
So I'll go ahead and take the risk of whatever. Let's see, I failed to get video. So people were walking in and out of it. I didn't
Rolled
roll
a
a 1.
2. Okay. All right.
So-
So yeah, you did not get any video that you feel is usable. In fact, you gave up on that idea. You did see a variety of things, a fair amount of TILA guys. So you saw probably 6 to 8 individual TILA guards, essentially, that that are sort of wandering around. So the way the space docks are, it's sort of like an enclosed space, and then there's a essentially a stasis field that separates the dock from the ship. So the ship is still technically in space. The dock is on the thing, but the interface is sort of a stasis field that sort of surrounds a little bit of the ship. There's also various rooms and stuff around there, cargo holds and not holds, but transport things. And these guys are sort of milling around all over the thing. You did see, so there was about 6 of those guys, maybe 8 that you could identify, all in TILA uniforms. You also saw Cymbeline constab guys, but you didn't see very many of those, maybe 4. So about a dozen guys. One thing that gave you pause is you did see what looked to be a couple of security bots that were posted up in front of the stasis field, that were just sort of hanging there. Armored and armed security bots.
Right.
Just floating in their grab fields near the stasis field
Can
that
you hack those,
separated.
Jack?
Yeah. So
Okay.
at this point, I tried that. And again, the attempt was to get clean video to use for a loop to give
Right.
us cover for later. So the failure on that, and it wasn't a catastrophic failure, but the failure on that means I just delete that. And then I'll try again to get us some clean video that we can try to loop. Right.
Okay, you gonna try again?
Yeah.
All right. Now you don't have the effort.
I didn't
so
use
you-
effort.
Oh, you didn't. Okay, so you can
No.
use it now if you want.
No, I still, effort would bring it down to 0.
Right, which means
And
it'll automatic succeed.
Right. But I don't know at this point when we're going to try this and if I'll have time. Well, I will have time because it would be a first rest, which would be a round. But I still think I'm going to try it without that.
Okay.
So
9. Okay, yeah.
that's
So
successful.
you do end up getting in there and you're like, okay, I think I can pull some video off this, and you begin recording. So what I'm going to say is, based on the other things, you got it down to a 3. Unless you want to do effort, I'm going to say this is a DC 6, including all your other stuff. And what I'm going to rule is that you get the number that you roll above 6 is the number of effective minutes of video that you're able to peel off.
So I got 3 minutes.
Well, no, you got to roll again. It's a DC 6 check in this case.
Oh, okay.
Now you can.
Nat 20.
Oh, nat 20. All right. So nat 20 is a major effect.
Mhm.
Meaning, all right. So you've got easily 10 minutes of video that you can watch, probably that you can post up in here. In fact, you've got several that, from an aesthetic standpoint, just looks fantastic. The video looks
Right.
fantastic.
So I can loop this and feel confident that there's no way anybody watching it live would see a difference.
No, that's correct. You
Okay.
also see, you manage to see that the security bots are of a certain kind. These are not TILA bots, these are constab bots.
Okay.
And as you notice these, and you can see the serial numbers on them, you do notice that they are armed and armored security bots,
Mhm.
but they are slave to the constab network, not TILA network,
Perfect.
which draws a smile.
Yes.
So there you go.
So that while they're having their drink, because I didn't know this Coffin guy. I mean, respect to him, right? But while they're doing that, I'll be gathering and preparing this for later use for the plan that we talked about, trying to get us in there by drawing the guards off, and now including the security bots, which will be easier because I have everything I need to know about them.
Yep.
And then
Yeah, those security numbers means that you're going to be, and this is part of the major effect, is basically you'll be able to target those specific bots. So rather than taking out an entire security bot network in this entire region of this, in this spaceship, you can specifically target those 2 bots.
Right. Cool.
And theoretically, if you get the right thing, you could turn them against their masters.
Yeah, but this is a subtle stealth type situation, not
Yeah,
a
you're not doing it now.
not a kill everything situation.
Mallory Graves is like, ¿Por qué no
Hey,
los dos?
what's
Why not
wrong?
both?
What's wrong with the kill everything situation?
Yeah.
That's usually plan A.
Can we talk about this? I mean, I got some ideas for the other side, you know.
So I just wanted to collect that, which I can use later, which now after the natural 20 will allow me to reduce some difficulty for later. So that's all
Yep,
good.
absolutely. All right. So yeah. So I don't know if you share that with everybody, but that's what you find out.
Well, I mean, they're having their conversation. I'm the techie nerd who's not all that social. So no, I would have gotten what I needed and just sort of been at the table, basically.
Okay. All right. So you guys managed to get that. What is your next step? Do you want to try? Do you want to take Graves back? So Gawker will basically say, I'm not going to go back with you. I'm going to stay here. I'm staying in this place. I've got money for another couple of days. But this allows me to sort of keep an eye on things. And I will be here so you can get me messages back and forth. We can't use Neural Ace, but we can use couriers and things like that. That will, old school stuff.
I'll tell him
and
to
I
be
can-
extra vigilant just because the cops aren't the only ones looking for us, and he doesn't want to get pinched by the bear goons, especially
He's like,
Dr.
wait.
Wagner's girlfriend.
I'm sorry, what bear goons?
I'll give him a brief synopsis of the telegram we got.
So basically, he's like, the Smitchy guy is in league with the Ursae, and the woman that Coffin smacked around with a spoon and who Dr. Wagner essentially mutilated is coming back to get us.
Well, I mean, when you put it like
Is this-
that, it doesn't sound great.
Is
but
that what's
yeah,
happening?
What's happening? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Yes, the space chickens are coming home to roost. right when we least need the heat on this any more than it is.
Graves is worried now. Wait, what? What?
I mean, too late, no backsies.
So this is the message that came over.
Right.
No take backs.
No take backs.
I see. So
I know where you are. I'm coming for you, Dr. Wagner.
Count the days.
yeah.
Notice it doesn't say Tam on it, so you're fine.
Tam's probably fine.
But when you see this girl walking
Hey.
through here looking for us, keep your head down. Is all I'm saying, guys.
Except the other message that said Tam's next. You're gonna keep that from him?
He's like fourth on the list. I mean, she's gonna torture and kill all of us. But he got some time.
Hmm.
You ever see the movie Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead? When they send Mr. Shh, who's like a super assassin to kill everybody. Ever see that?
I haven't
Basically,
seen that movie.
basically, Andy Garcia and his guys were like kind of like our team here, like low level criminals just trying to get a score and get him good with the boss. Actually, they kill the boss's son, and because who's being a jackass. And
Boat drinks.
Yeah, boat drinks. And so they one by one are getting bumped off by this super assassin named Mr. Shh, who's Steve Buscemi. He just in like a fedora and a trench coat, just, hey guys, what's up? And just like murdering everybody at each location and whatnot. But yes, but they all have this thing like when they're in the afterlife, they're all gonna get boat drinks together. Like like boat drinks are when you're on a boat, you get that tropical fruity drink and it's got lots of alcohol in it, and you got not a care in the world. Boat drinks. That's their
Boat drinks. That's their
pledge
thing.
to each other. So as the credits roll, then you
They
see all the
show 'em
characters,
all.
Yeah, all the dead
Yeah.
guys now on the boat with having their boat drinks. Like, yeah.
Nice.
What a weird movie that is. It was based on a poem too.
Was it really?
Yeah, Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead.
Hmm.
I was from Denver, so of course I had to get all up in the mythology of it there. It's not a great movie, but I enjoyed it.
It is a
I've
good
seen the
movie.
poster.
Andy Garcia is good in it. I think Marissa
Yeah.
Tomei's in it too.
The guy
Steve
who looks like
Buscemi.
evil Macaulay Culkin's in it. Can't think of, you know what I'm talking about? Like, he looks like a swole Macaulay Culkin, blonde guy. Can't think of what his name is. He's in The Rock. He's like the sub FBI agent in The Rock.
Hold on, almost there. We'll have this. You talking about Treat Williams?
Yeah, I think it's Tree.
Oh, the big Macaulay Culkin, William Forsythe. He was in.
Yeah.
He was in Raising Arizona.
Yes, and
He was
I
the
think
little
he's-
brother.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's in Ace Ventura too. Keeps asking the Ace Ventura to look at his penis, like, it looks like a little noodle, right? And Ace is like, can you get away from me, please?
All right, so yeah, that's
the
the plan.
The question that I have at this point to Weber It's like, so this is everybody except for the guy, the doctor.
Yes, this
So
this is all our zoo now.
do you
Well,
want,
the captain of the ship, Captain Black, or his disguised name, Captain Gray, is also on the outer bunk in that where Dr. Wagner is.
so are we gonna try this tonight? Or are we gonna risk? Because you've been now, what, 48 plus 12? Or at least that's where we're coming to, right, in the safe house.
Mhm.
Sergey said you guys had maybe another 24.
I'm willing
Which
to
at
try
this
it now, but
point-
like we have 30 game minutes, so we can start this ball
Well,
rolling.
yeah, no, I'm just saying, do you think you can get the doctor here?
Oh yeah, well, we'll throw him in a laundry basket or something and roll it over here.
He
That
can
was just
walk.
the movies.
Well, we
Yeah, but-
don't know that because he couldn't when
he-
we left.
He is not a. There's a lot of great things to say about Dr. Wagner, but being an inconspicuous character is not one of them. He's off, looking for tiger penis updates and asking just innocuous questions of people as they go by, like, "Hey, you using that eye?"
So no,
Fair
basically,
question.
basically the question is at this point, and I get we only have 30 minutes left, but do you want to try to go back and get the doctor and get him here so everybody's in one place and then try this move on the ship? Or is it spend another night, hope the safe house doesn't get raided and the doctor gets shot to death?
Well, I know some of you are new to this thing, but I'm looking for advice here on the. Is it worth going to get the weasel and squeezing more information out of him? We already know everything. He's working for the Bears. He's coming to kill us. We have a pretty damning telegram from him, but we could probably get yet another confession from him. If he doesn't deliver us, he's definitely going to die because these people don't play. So we could probably use that to instill fear in him if we want to lean on him. But we'd have to find him first, and I don't know exactly where to find him.
And it sounds like that requires additional stay on Cymbeline Station.
Right.
Which
Probably another 12 hours.
every minute of that is hazardous to every one of yours health.
Yeah, I'd rather get the heck off here. So if are you guys all who's here, Dr. Wagner, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm of no opinion. I spaced out. Sorry.
There's that girl that shot you. She's still alive. Maybe you can get revenge on her.
Oh yeah.
You wanna shoot her a message via your neural lace, her neural lace, and
I don't really have operational neural
right.
lace at the moment.
that's probably saving your life right now.
Well, then I'm glad I was a Butterfinger.
Well, I don't know. There's a couple. I mean, there's certainly reasons for or against going after Smitchy. One, he might have some information that's valuable to you because he's obviously connected in not just with TILA, but he's connected in with the Ursae and the guys you've been chasing, right?
Yeah,
Or have
clear our name.
or have been chasing you. So ultimately, your job for Spofulum Corporation is to try and find out who's stealing the scientists and put a stop to it. You got the Ursae, but you're not sure why, and it continues to happen. So you haven't put a stop to anything. I mean, you did bomb out that hidden laboratory on Greenpernt, but you made yourself persona non grata there because the explosion put a hole in the hull, and they had to decompress a whole area to try and fix it. So basically, you set off a huge bomb there by way
I'm
of.
still bitter about that because if you remember, I had just talked everybody down, but it was all going to end peacefully, and then the
And you guys
general
opened the door that you said that
Opened the
guy
door.
begged you not to open. The guys on the radio is like, it's all trapped. It will explode. Please don't open this door and release this creature.
Yeah, like what? This door right here?
Yeah, and you're like, well, we open the door, and then of course it
Yeah,
exploded.
it's this we part that I have a problem with this. I'm a little touchy.
Well, who opened it? Was it Tam?
No, it was Josh.
Oh, that's
So,
right.
yeah,
It was Josh.
it was that was the adventure that got us into a bickering argument that he quit.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, so it was Josh. So yeah, it was General Jedzicius who did that. So yeah, I guess you guys can't take 100% of the blame for that. I'll let that
All
slide.
right, hey, thank you. All right, so this might be a good time for Mallory and Hawke to maybe strut their stuff, and you guys feel like getting your knuckles a little bloody, you know, stretch your arms a little bit.
What?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to what you've got in mind.
Well, there's a loose end that we should probably squeeze for a little more information. Maybe he's got something forthcoming on why.
Well,
You know,
I think I
right now,
mentioned
Mongo
before.
is just pawn and cruel game of life. Mongo wants to know why he's pawn and cruel game of life.
I think I mentioned before, if your goal is to take a TILA dude head up, I can't help you. I mean, I don't know if you've taken a look at me. I'm 6'1" and a $105. And I fix machines and
beanpole.
I fix machines and hack computers. I don't
Alright.
punch people in the face. That's bad for the computer skills.
So I'm
It
gonna look
breaks
over
your
here
fingers.
at Mallory. Then, like, look like a guy who could maybe stretch your arms and punch a guy in the face. What do you think?
Mallory is short, but he's pretty well built. He's obviously not weak. He looks like a guy who's probably been in a few fights.
All right. Well, and this guy, well,
You're
I
muted,
think
Matt.
Mallory's touch point is this guy basically set it up for
Somebody
Coffin to get killed.
Yeah, I will remind him of that. This is the guy who set it all in motion that ended up with
see.
Coffin getting killed.
Damn. What's this guy's name again?
Oh,
Keeve Smitchy.
He sounds like
Keeve
a
Smitchy.
weasel, doesn't he?
Where does Keeve work?
Well, he
Okay.
currently is. This was he's under house arrest or like under detention, right, or something. I forget. I'm trying to remember what he.
Oh, right.
House
yeah.
arrest. Yeah, he was briefly interdicted by TILA.
Mhm.
He was interrogated for about 18 hours
Mhm.
in TILA custody, and then he was released to he's under house arrest. Essentially, he's not allowed to leave his house, but he has access to computer networks and things like that. The messages that that Sergei was able to intercept came from Smitchy's house.
Got it.
Where we need to go over
Got it.
there and deliver a candygram of punishing damage.
Well, you know, I'd like to go pay a visit if we have time and if it won't endanger us in our mission to bust the hell out of here.
It seems like a decent side quest to accomplish if we're gonna get it
Yeah.
done in a record time. So maybe Hawk can come along and either pop a lock or watch you a security cam and maybe give us a head count who's inside before we pop in there. I will remind everybody, I am not the heavy in this group. I am the fast talker, but I will shoot if I have to.
You have shot.
I have
Well,
shot.
I just want to talk.
Hey, I just want to talk.
He sort of takes that spoon and he says, you know, it's like, I just want to talk with you.
All right.
It's all talk. All right. Well, that brings up a good point. So if you guys, so I'm assuming, well, so let me just clarify. Do you guys go back to the safe house, grab Dr. Wagner and bring him to that bar and check him into that hotel? Because then it's not just one disguise problem. I mean, you've got one, two,
Well, I was trying to leave Dr. Wagner
three.
to the last possible moment to get him to wheel him onto the ship, right?
Okay. So you're going to leave him at the safe house along with the captain.
Yeah, he's barely ambulatory, right? So he's not gonna be.
He can move. Wagner can move. I mean, yeah, I mean, depending on, I mean, you don't know if Smitchy's armed or anything like that. He wasn't before, but maybe he has some tricks up his sleeve.
Let's assume he has tricks up both sleeves and both pant legs. But you know, I'm actually right now. I'm wearing street clothes. I have a long coat on, but I might or might not have a little body pistol, maybe, but I'm not wearing my marine combat armor.
That's probably good.
I'm trying to blend in and look like a normal, slightly shabby middle-aged guy. And I will assume that most of the people on Cymbeline Station don't walk around wearing combat armor.
No, that would be accurate.
Yeah, don't worry. Once you're with the crew a few weeks, you'll just sleep in that marine body armor at all times. So.
Got it. All right. Oh, just a heads up before we debark or leave this station. I gotta stop at I gotta make a quick stop at my rented security locker. I have 3 suitcases.
All right, good to know.
That's all. So what's our next step? I would like to talk to Kiev, but only if it's not gonna endanger our leaving this place.
Well, every minute we stay here is endangering us leaving this place, but I feel, thinking about it, I feel this is, we're missing a lot of critical information. All we're going to be doing is going on the run, but Keith might be able to drop something that gives us a place to run to. Does that make sense?
Sure. Would it be helpful if Kiev came with us?
Not abduct anybody else. I mean, not that we haven't abducted anybody before. It's, it's kind of on our resume, but I would prefer not to start the whole cycle again of blood debt vengeance from the last kidnap victim we had.
All right.
Speaking of which, we don't know if she's not bunking up with her buddy Keeve either, so we know her arrival sentiment, so we should be ready for her. I know she won't be recognizing you, Mallory, but I can give you a brief description of what she last looked like when we saw her.
Okay.
And so you can keep an eye out for somebody who fits the general description, and then maybe Bishop, alleged crime. Yes, we have been convicted of nothing. It's like we started this adventure, Chuck, as a sort of gray area, guys. We're here just, trying to ply our trade, in a kind of a Firefly situation, just working on the fringes of society. But after a few weeks of doing good for all of living beings.
Yeah, then you started dealing with Ewok pelts
accusations
and
started-
tiger penises. Yeah. I know.
Well, you don't even know about the tiger penises. A giant jellyfish made us fight mutant tigers, dude. And I wish I was exaggerating.
Coffin had told me that he was just helping out a group of space merchant fraud attempt. Oh my gosh.
That's all we are. We're
space merchants.
Murder,
fraud.
mayhem, robbery, kidnapping, fraud, attempted fraud, and penis collecting.
You forgot about
You guys are obsessed with peni.
All guys.
You're
are
the one with the
obsessed
collection.
peni.
Yeah, but it's not an obsession. It's just a collection.
I think our specialty is mayhem. Isn't there some pros on this list too of saved a civilization from a terrible cordyceps disease?
That's true. That's true. That's true. We saved the whole planet.
Bear's plans from Green Pernt. Made out with 2 or 3 Stacys when we were in Green Pernt. I mean, that was just me alone. One of my characters traits is always looking for the next ex Mrs. Weber jigs. So I'm always out there in space, seeing who fits the bill.
I think Coffin even lost his arm while saving this whole planet. So
yeah, that was and Tufik there. Yeah, he was going hand in hand with zombies.
Yes.
Not usually a healthy endeavor.
So hand to hand, not hands to hands, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay. Well, I knew that Coffin was not always strictly law abiding. But at heart, he had a good heart. Ah,
Yeah, he kept it in a jar on his desk.
Yeah, and he called it Felicia, and it kind of freaked us all out.
Anyway, so
So
uh let's go. All right, then let's go to find out what Kiev knows.
Oh, Smitchy.
All right, so quick computer check for whoever wants to do it to find out where he lives, to check his address. This is not going to be very difficult to
I will,
find.
I will pass it over to Chuck.
DC
because
8.
Chuck should be able to do this in a snap because
So
we already
is
have
this-
he already have his IP address from this telegram, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we should be able to easily find his physical
So-
address.
DC8. So if I use hacker and edge, it becomes DC2.
Yep.
Well, let's do that. So I need to drop this down by 1. And then 3.
You got it. All right. It was more difficult than you initially thought. You thought it was going to be a walk in the computer park,
Well,
but
this guy's TILA, and he's in hiding, sort of.
well, he's under house arrest because of
Right.
TILA. So
Yeah.
what has happened is you detect that TILA has put in some sort of like surreptitious kind of things. You were worried more about tripping, alerting TILA to the fact that somebody was looking for this address.
Right.
So you
Yeah.
had to take extra care, which you do not think that you did, but you do have an address. It's relatively close, actually, to the safe house. It's only probably 500 to 700 meters away from where the safe house is located.
All right. Well, I'll give these guys the address.
Okay. All right. So you've got the address of his house. You know that he's under house arrest. So the likelihood is that he's there.
And
You have-
guarded.
Well, maybe guarded. Maybe he's got like one of those ankle things on.
He's a Fed boy.
Well, like I said, he hasn't been officially charged with any crimes yet.
Right. So he's still a Fed boy.
Yeah, he's just sort of relieved of duty. What do they do it when cops commit crimes? Paid
He's just-
leave. That's what he's
Yeah,
on.
he's
Paid
on
leave.
paid leave.
So, but he is restricted.
Paid
He
leave
is
for cops. If you're CEO, you spend more time with your family.
exactly. So he's basically restricted to quarters. But as long as he doesn't leave, he has full access to network and stuff like that. So he may or may not be guarded, depending on what he's going to do. So
Oh, and
you
actually,
don't know.
I forgot. I have the skill in computers, so that would have actually been a 0.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what you found that he's sort of that this has
If-
been
if-
monitored.
If that changes the fact that I may have tripped monitoring, if I reduce it down to a 0, then maybe I avoided that.
Okay.
You
Good
know
to
what I'm
know.
saying?
Yep. You don't
Okay,
think you tripped the monitoring,
okay.
but there's definitely monitoring in place. You had to be very
Well,
cautious,
Exactly.
but you got
Well,
the address.
And like I said, messing with Fed boys is a bad idea. This is a bad idea. But here's your address.
So you did also get a little bit of extra information in that, as far as you can tell, and you couldn't look at it because most of it's encrypted. I mean, so you couldn't look directly at it, but
Right.
there's a fair amount of network traffic coming in and out of that place.
Hmm.
So either he's still there and using, well, he's taking up a lot of bandwidth.
Are you able to maybe tap into his comms to see what he's talking about?
Pilot
It's a-
comms is the problem.
Yeah,
Pilot
it's
comms. I don't- we don't
not
want pilot
his.
comms. We want off book comms.
Right. And everything is encrypted, and it's encrypted by TILA. Could I hack it? Possibly. Would it be easy? Absolutely not.
Wait, Les, I thought that the message we got was not on the TILA system, that because he used a yellow code.
Sergei got that, and you didn't ask him how.
Got it, okay.
But he's like, look, I came across this thing. It's related to you guys, or I think it's related to you guys. It's something you should know.
A guy who knows a guy found us filling off a space truck. Thought you might be interested.
Yeah, exactly. It fell off the space truck. All right, so you got the address. What do you guys want to do? It's not very far. It's only about 500 meters from the safe house, which might make it easier to bring Wagner along with you. I mean, you could sort of tart it up. I mean, if Bishop can jimmy the cameras, you might be able to get Wagner there in disguise and have him with you just in case, something bad happens. Probably nothing bad ever happens when you guys go on adventures like this. So
you
it's
want us to
probably
bring the
fine.
guy that's who is very hard to disguise, with the eyeball in the back of his head.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's got the
With a
number
big
one target
targeting
on his
eyeball. Yeah.
target on his back from a vengeful space assassin or something.
I don't know. Maybe he wants to come with. I mean, he's a member of the crew. He's probably sick of sitting around.
Well, and like I said, at this point, we don't
We
necessarily
take
know
Andrew's
that
dead
he's
silence to say he's not interested in.
up in
That's target.
ambulatory. Because he did the healing thing after we were gone. So
Right. Well, so yeah, if you guys go back there, and I'm sure you go back to the safe house before you head it.
Sure.
Well, I don't know. Are you gonna
Well,
go
here's
back
what
to
we're
the
gonna
safe
do.
house before you go to Smitchy's?
We got 10 minutes left. I'm beat. I don't think I have it in me for combat tonight, but maybe we set it up where we can get Wagner and Captain Black, get the whole posse together and get ready to kick in the door at Smitchy's. Captain Black definitely don't want to have a little extra conversation with Smitchy. But if we can squeeze more information out of him and maybe pull anything from the scene, it'd be good. But it would be nice to have a few extra hands on scene for inevitable gunplay if that other assassin lady is on
I
scene.
don't like the sounds of inevitable gunplay.
I should be a little more circumscript with my words around the new.
I did mention I'm a mechanic and a techie.
It's gonna come up in my review like, hey, you're doing a great job, Weber, but maybe stop talking about imminent death and
Inevitable gunplay.
yeah,
Yeah,
inevitable gunplay and bear porn and to the new guys.
those are terms that make your nerd nervous.
Like, okay, I got it. Last quarter we talked to you about the Ewok pelts and you need to move away from that. I'm like, all right, I get it. This PC space universe we live in where you can't talk about Ewok pelts anymore.
Yeah, the gin and tonic has gone woke. We can't talk about we can't talk about Ewok pelts. We can't hit people with spoons.
Gunplay, freaks out the newbies.
Yeah, talking about gunplay freaks out the noobs.
When I was your age, kid, I was in a gun battle the first day of this campaign. I shot a lady in her gut. Was trying to kill me with a shotgun.
I think we were in a gunfight the first day of this.
Oh yeah,
campaign.
we rolled into Greenport, wheeled our frozen scientist popsicle into the warehouse to see who was the receiving end. They happened to come. They had a big old bear with a club.
Kick Bandiers, man, the guy who's been bedeviling you ever since.
Right,
Yeah.
and the girl we shot, we saved her life, but then
Right.
some flippant, so maybe say ill-conceived,
And ripped all the cybernetics out of her.
yeah, she didn't take it so well. And then we allowed her to escape. Double, but no.
Sorry. All right. Well, Mallory Graves. Mallory. He. Nobody knows who he is yet. So.
True.
Maybe you can deliver the edible arrangements to the front door and
Candygram.
yeah.
I mean,
Land shark.
Telegram man.
Spoon guy.
Let's think about this. I mean, nobody is expecting Mallory Graves. Mallory, he served with Coffin on Planet P.
It's an ugly planet.
A bug planet.
Bug planets. Well, that's true. You got two people in the party now who are, who can operate more or less freely within Cymbeline Station. There's no reason, they're not. TILA's not after them. Constab's not after them.
Right.
Well, I'd just like to see if we can get, if our technical wizard might be able to get us some sort of edge in terms of understanding who's either on the property or what they might be saying before we try to approach it. But it sure would be nice to know if the vengeful space witch is already on scene, bunking up with her buddy Kitschy, or not. I'm just making her more and more of a boogeyman each time I open my mouth.
Let me ask before we interview Kiev, assuming we can get into Kiev's address and not trigger all kinds of safeguards. What exactly do we want to ask him? We know that he's working with
Why they're doing what they're
Chimera.
doing and where we can find them. That would be two good questions.
Well, why? Let's assume the why is money.
Well, that's why he's working with them, but we'd like to know why they are doing what they're doing.
Who's they?
The whole thing that kicked us off, this all goes back to Kick Van Deers and the
Right.
scientists back in,
Okay.
who are building some sort of thing off book out in the galaxy somewhere that we've heard about. We've seen some vague pictures of. Remember those that our boy at a Spoffyland Corporation says looks like a pretty sophisticated operation, but it doesn't seem to be part. Less than, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't seem to be part of the official Ursae
Well,
playbook, right?
well, right. So, I mean, the Ursae were sort of like the latest group of sophonts that were sort of brought into the council of spacefaring aliens, right? The Terrans are pretty much the leading guys, but then you have these guys like the Affront, the Kzinti, the Ursae, the Vargur, the Vegans, who are all sort of tertiary to that. But the Terrans are definitely sort of the biggest. Now, the culture of Terra, the Terran Confederation, is basically like, we want to keep the peace. We're commercially focused, law and order, that kind of stuff. In the meantime, they've got the Affront Kzinti war they're dealing with, and they're friends with both, so they're trying not to let this escape. The Ursae are sort of like the newest redheaded sister, right? So they don't have much in the way of AI. They're sort of considered to, their home system is sort of a backwater. It's far away from everything, and they're sort of like they're the rednecks of the Terran Confederation. So basically, it's like the Ursae are trying to sort of propel themselves to a better position within the group of starfaring nations. The Terrans are fine with that as long as the Terrans are able to control how their technological and political advancements proceed. The Ursae don't like that. They don't like they see that as being politically and technologically held back. So they're looking for alternatives. So the theory, Spoffylam's theory, is they've lost some scientists. So, and you've caught Ursae's with kidnapped scientists,
Right.
right? So it's them. What you don't know is why. And so what Spoffylam has said is like, look, try and get our scientists back, but also try and stop them from continuing to kidnap. We're not the only corporation who's lost scientists. And remember, Wen showed you some of those pictures that they saw, which gave them a lot of consternation, which you can show to Mallory and Bishop, if you want to, because you guys have those. You can show them what you've seen, which, frankly gives you a lot of pause. Second, you can also check on the messages. So you haven't heard anything from Palmer, but so it was so you responded to Craigslist, you reached out to Spoffylam, you reached out to Palmer. What was the fourth one? I can't remember.
We sent a note to I guess Spoffylam was, that's a Palmer, Craigslist, Spoffylam.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was it. I don't remember.
I thought there was 4.
Well, the other one was Gawker.
Oh, to Gawker. Okay.
But we now have that done. Hey, Les.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever found German industrial bear porn in the woods behind your school, you might just be a space redneck.
Or a space Gen X. It's the woods. It's not. It's like the computer system behind your school.
Yeah, when you said that the bears are the rednecks of the galaxy, I felt like I had to go with the German industrial bear porn.
So just a quick thing before we bag here. Palmer hasn't responded. Spoffylam has responded, but very tersely. Basically, you got a message from Wen Yamazaki saying, we are aware of your difficulties. We can't get directly involved, but if you can get to Mirabilis, we can guarantee your safety from Terran authorities. So it might be, depending on what you need, basically the gist of it is, if you can get to Mirabola's system, which is kind of far away, but if you can get there, Spa Film Corporation will protect you, and you won't have to worry about TILA until this all gets sorted out.
Okay. To help us put new plates on the spaceship and
Yeah.
get back in it.
Well, certainly they won't be turning you over to Terra or Sirius or any of the longer
Oh,
things.
hey, that's the best news we've had all day. So
The other thing is that your response to your response to the Craigslist ad got an almost immediate response indicating that they are interested in speaking with you. They're asking you about time and day windows in the next 48 to 72 hours to talk about it. They are on Cymbeline, and they're saying, look, we want to meet. However, we would like your credit number so that we can check. We're talking about a significant amount of credits here that we're selling this for, and we just want to make sure that you're for real. So if you give us, there's a system whereby you can give them a number, and they can check your general net worth. They have no access to any of your accounts or anything, and those can't be hacked. But it checks your general net worth based on an indexing system versus the net worth of a variety of other people, and to basically see, so if you answer a thing on Craigslist that says I'm selling a $20,000 car, basically you're saying, all right, this is my, you could check, this is my name, you can check my credit rating, but I have the money. Basically, and they're saying, look, this is an expensive thing. We want to make sure you're not.
I got it. All
you're
I'm
for
gonna
real.
ask you is there any way we can share that without being flagged by the TILA?
Not if you use your own, but if you use a
Right.
dummy one, maybe you could set it up, and maybe Bishop can set it up.
Yeah, maybe if I knew a guy who was great with computers.
So Chuck, do you know the I know a guy thing?
Yeah,
Have
tell
we
me
used that
about
before?
I know a guy.
I do understand what that is. And
Okay.
in fact, in my backstory,
Gotcha. Okay.
I trained for a time with a group of influential adepts, which at this point is the RBC, which is a hacker organization.
Yep.
And they still think of me fondly.
Yep.
So yes, I can call on the RBC if we need massive, pervasive hacking done, provided it fits with their ideology.
There you go.
Okay. So I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna creep up on his location. Use our guys who have not been identified with us yet as maybe our front men, our face men, and we'll roll in Dr. Wagner with a butterfly net in his wheelchair or something, so he can help us scoop up Keith, and hopefully by then Captain Black can be back in that fight too, because I know he's just itching to use his robotic arm to blow some people away. So
well, and
what I do
frankly, Mallory.
I want
go
to
ahead.
fight. I want to fight 0 more TILA guys. That's my no deal thing. I'm not getting another gun to fight with TILA guys. We already have enough heat on us that I'm not going to fight like legit guys.
Okay. All right. So one thing, I mean, that Mallory, you would know is that this Smitchy fellow that they keep talking about seems to be the guy who's directly responsible for your friend's death.
Got it.
I mean, he may not have pulled the trigger, but he set the ball in motion.
I understand.
So bring your biggest spoon.
Well, I can't really walk around with my sub machine gun, but I can, I can do what wait, hold on. I just want to talk.
You theoretically, depending on if it's, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I would say we're trying the old LA Confidential move of bad cop, bad cop.
Well, so
And Conan carried a spoon. Mallory carries a ladle.
Goodness.
So there is submachine guns aren't always huge. The Scorpion is a pistol-sized submachine gun with a foldable stock.
Right.
That thing you could easily hide under a trench coat, and I'm not going to go into detail about how I know that.
You were sent from the future to help Sarah Connor, weren't you?
No, but yeah, it's quite small. The Scorpion, it's a check-made submachine gun. It's not very big.
These search guys really pack a lot of heat.
Les, I got to send you an updated character sheet too, so I'll send that.
Okay.
Good.
I think. Oh, you send me your updated character sheet when you have it. you guys keep track of your stat pools, right? And keep track of your rest periods and how you use them. All the stuff that's happened tonight has happened in one day. So if you've got some opportunities, if you've used some stat pools and you need to do some rest, you can do that. Dr. Wagner, Andrew, you're back on your feet. You've done some stuff. Your targeting thing is your lace is still down. You've removed all the bullets. You're sore as a motherfucker, but if there's one thing that Dr. Wagner knows well, it's the application of drugs. So I'm assuming that you're cooking up a special concoction just for yourself that gives you all the best feeling of opiates, but keeps your mind clear and
Wagner special, right?
ready to go. Well, I think there's several kinds of Wagner special, but this one might be just for you.
Excellent. Thank you.
In
All right,
fact, Dr. Wagner, I'm going to give you trained in pharmacology as a freebie.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome. Put that on your sheet when you get a moment.
Breaking Bad.
All right.
Okay, pharmacology.
Any regrets of that we played tonight, or no? Are we happy?
I'm glad. I was beat down, but I was glad to rally and play. So thanks for stepping up. And I'm glad to have you along, Chuck. Welcome.
It's good. Yeah, good.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
Welcome,
it.
Chuck.
Okay.
Welcome.
All right. Between now and next thing, think about how you're going to get on the ship and what that process is. And feel free to send me emails, messages, questions, comments. I'm ready to go.
All right.
Cash.
Charges of malfeasance.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
All right,
Awesome,
guys.
dudes.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody.
Night all.
Yeah.
Take care. Good night.